Greetings, lords and ladies of Arvandor. I am but the guardian of this threshold, set here by the primal elves themselves to usher you to your thrones, and channel the weave to your divine senses so that you may witness this tale unfold. The inhabitants here call me the Dungeon Master, but I am merely the arbiter of this world, a grim task left to me since the days of Parkard, when the one-eyed god of the orcs destroyed the first moon and split the sun in twain. Now it is that our lady, Sehanine Moonbow, has taken from her treasure house of images her throne within the temple of the first moon, her avatar now destroyed and her soul imprisoned in the 9 hells of Bartor. Thus, I beg of you, lords and ladies of Arvandor, I entreat you, awaken your divinity, your currency here, and assist these mortal heroes from afar. In this way you may use our currency, divinity, to make an indelible and lasting mark upon this world, Sidariel, the throne. If you ever become unsure what you can use your divinity for, use this icon that I have given you, or summon an exarch to moderate and assist. Now, as you observe our adventurers, over time your divinity will multiply, and you will find that it can be used to affect the narrative in a variety of ways, from giving inspiration, a simple task for a deity such as you, to the resurrection of a beloved hero, something that may take an effort from your entire pantheon, and maybe even take weeks to complete. You will learn these powers as you observe the astral stream. Do not dally here upon the threshold. You have arrived in Sidariel. You must follow your heart. Let me open now the way to Vaingate, a city of sin and wickedness, built upon the ancient bones of giants. Here you will meet our companions. These are the ones we must now convince to restore our Lady Sehanine of the Moonbow to the world, and with her the divine feminine, a power that must not be lost to our world or yours. It will not be easy. There are many trials ahead, and for now our heroes have almost no understanding of their fate. Fare thee well, brothers and sisters, lords and ladies of the Seldarine, and those of you that hearken from darker realms. May you find light, life, liberty, and love. Look to the spirits here to deliver the particulars of time and place. All your questions will be answered. I'm Russell Kirkby, Dungeon Master of the Vaingate Chronicles, and I'd like to introduce you to Barry Tahira, Steve Austin, Joanna Grotenhouse, Max Easy, and Michael Bache, our players in this episode of Sidariel, and in fact all episodes of the Vaingate Chronicles. I see that our heads have switched places, which is somewhat disturbing, so I shall quickly fix that. But yes, welcome. So, our players, you are in the house of Drizael Storgentherm, and you are sitting about the table having feasted and drunk upon fine wine and mead, and you are discussing your fate and the future of your time in the city. It is night. It is a little chill, and Drizael has taken a moment to go and leave the room and given you some space. What will you do with it?
Alright, so I suppose once we're done here, we'll head over to Hazeldrill's, get our swag, and then make back for the dig site. Or not the dig site, the boats. If we can get out before that archmage bastard gets in here.
Well, yes. I think we should try and get away post haste if he's going to be here very soon.
Aye. That sounds like a good idea, considering the threats and/or set he placed upon us.
Yes, this Vorbus doesn't sound like a particularly pleasant chap. I'm a little worried, and I do think we should probably get out of the city as soon as possible. But we should collect on our on our promised dues, I guess.
And that brings a next thing to mind, because, well, there's no point in dwelling upon the worst that could happen. What do you all plan to do once this is all done? What are you looking forward to?
Oh,
What's next?
I hadn't actually thought about that.
Well, worst case scenario, we die, but that's pretty done and dusted. Full stop, we're done there. What happens next?
After we die?
Well, I mean, that's... I'm not particularly concerned there. Oh, life's for living. What happens next?
Well, I don't really fancy dying. I think I'd rather keep us all safe. We do all need to stick together.
That's a good point. I can count on exactly half of one hand the amount of people I know who plan on dying.
You raise an interesting point, Adric, because I think after all the adventures we've had, I will struggle to go back to temple and temple life. It's been rather exciting to be on an adventure with you all.
Yes,
Oh,
says
glad to hear
Xandor,
it.
looking about at all of you. So you do have a plan, yes? There is a plan that you have in mind. Is that correct?
Well, Xandor, I'm thinking that you are in fact the plan. Because who can get us to the ships like you can?
Well, I suppose I can, yes. And we should move quickly, as I've told you a few times now. Vorbis Dal Renars is almost certainly going to be arriving in Vaingate, possibly in a matter of hours.
What we need to know is we need some facts about the boats. How much control do you have over them?
Well, each boat has a captain, but the captains they will leave at my behest, and the luggage and the cargo is at my discretion. You see, so that's probably in our favor.
Good.
How many people are required per boat to propel them, to pilot them?
Oh well, we have somewhere upwards of 50 men in each of the two boats.
I see. And what's
So-
the minimum amount necessary? Because there's 5 of us, 6, including you, Zan.
I wouldn't worry too much, Mr. Fogdar, in so much as they do have sails, and you can probably propel them a little, enough to move them away from the shoreline. And once
Well-
they're out a little out from the shoreline, I can perhaps assist with some, should we say, magical assistance.
Excellent.
So you've got complete control over these boats and their captains.
Well, yes, until we get out to sea, at least the captains they will take a little bit more influencing out at sea. They like to believe that they know everything about the conditions.
But you can
the
tell them
waters.
to go to a port and they'll go to it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, largely so. But I mean, they could possibly argue about it, depending on how much pay they've been given and so on. But to be honest with you, I mean, given the current state of affairs when it comes to our financial situation, seems to be pretty good. That being said, I must admit a lot of it here is upon promises. The money that you've been given or said to have been given is all promised to you. You've been said to have been given 1,000 gold each, which we've yet to see. Is that right? At least I haven't seen it, unless they've given it to you directly. And then all the other monies that you've been told about has also been promised. And when are you going to get that, and how?
Oh, we were just given that 1,000 gold up front, but we've been promised, like, how much was it? 500,000? Yes.
500,000 gold pieces in total. Is that?
Oh,
100,000 between us.
you mean each?
Each. That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
Yes, that's the impression that I had from your friend Mr. Drizail here, the house owner here. Very well. Well, that's quite a bit of money. I'm sure you'd probably be able to bribe the captains to do something along the lines of what it is that we're looking to do.
How much would you be suggesting for bribing the captains?
Well, look, the standard their standard pay is approximately, I think it's about 500, 600 gold for a trip to Barakyle, which, to be fair, is a long way. It's a very long way. I mean,
Brixton, how far would we be directing these gentlemen?
Ooh. How far do I think?
where are you
Hey.
where are you planning to take them?
What's the most out of the way port, Russell? Like
Well, Milford Brixton is not the most greatest purveyor of ports, so let's be honest. You spent most of your life in Vaingate. You wouldn't know where the most out of the way ports were. You're not a sailor. You've never
Okay.
even really left Vaingate.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I don't know which port we should go in at.
I see. I believe that is the next part of our plan. We need to figure out where the hell we're taking these gentlemen. And so-
Well, I let me think now. I'm looking at a map here. There's a port far to the south in a city called Thantafaxatath.
that's a name.
And they might have us. We could go all the way to Barakyle, but I mean, of course, that would be a problem. Certainly, it could be. Amphrodisius is another place. The city of fools, seems like a likely place for a group like us.
Throtia seems as good a bet as any.
Oh, I see, Mr. Rem. You're quite partial to comedy.
Any other place?
Well, there's a number of places, Mr. Brixton. I couldn't say exactly where. I mean, surely one of you has access to a world map. With all the resources that you've been given.
Well, from my memory, I do believe Barakyle is a very long way, and
Yes.
as I have suggested, we could perhaps go inland to Lockhart Lake and try to hide some of the treasure there.
Well,
That's a good idea.
the question I have is if the river will hold our boats. Quite honestly, that's the real question. The boats that we have, I'm not honestly sure whether they will fit in the river there, and whether the river is going to be deep enough to take us.
And
Could
I'd
we
hate the
perhaps-
Blackguard to catch us.
Could we perhaps go out to sea and build barges and take them upriver
Build barges at sea.
at sea, and then go to the closest inlet to Lockhart Lake and take them further by barge?
Is that a thing that's done? Building barges at sea?
I'm not a seafaring type myself, but I'm just.
What would you build a barge with at sea? Seaweed?
The ship itself, you could tear apart your own ship, leave the skeleton enough to be able to jettison yourself off of it.
Well,
I think they
Map of the
repair
world.
ships like that
Yeah.
when they're doing whaling.
Yes.
I see.
This map of the world has got, like, what about Dagdagiel?
Well, Dagdagiel is not far from Barakyle, relatively speaking, but it is a free city of its own. It's run by another woman, actually. Her name is oh goodness, the Empress of Doors. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but that is her title.
If we talk to Mr., we can get some carts to meet us at Dagdagiel.
Dagdagiel could be a safe place. It could be, but the thing with Dagdagiel is, I think that that the port is a little way away from the city. It's about 10, 20 miles from the city. You can't literally bring the boats right up to the city. They will be vulnerable.
That's why we get the carts
That's-
to meet us in that area before.
And where would we propose to store our treasure once we reach Dagdagiel? Do any of us know anyone there?
It's my understanding that Dagdagiel would actually be the best possible place. Because consider, we turn up the boats at a much busier port, closer to a city, and then we have these very recognizable boats being unladen with shitloads of gold. Someone recognizes it, comes back to us. They follow the carts at some point. That's it. That's the game. But Dagdagiel, 20 miles away, no one's there.
We can
Yes.
arrange that the carts meet us near the shore, and we can load up there.
How do we arrange carts to be
How-
somewhere
how
before we
would
get
we?
there?
Yes, how would we arrange that? Dagdagiel is weeks away, even
Months.
by land, months.
I must admit, it is a little too close to Barakyle, isn't it? I mean, it's
It's very
literally
close.
right under their noses, and I feel like if they're going to be looking anywhere, I don't think they'd be looking there, but it's because they've probably got such a good surveillance network there versus somewhere like oh good god,
Faxatath?
Seth. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. My eyes aren't what they aren't what they used to be. Nor is my elfish. But yeah, somewhere like there. Or I mean, I am not against going inland either.
I think our best bet might be to go as close to inland as we can. And if the boats get somewhat stuck, we'll have to unload to a degree. We'll talk to Hazeldrill, Drazail, and get them to send some carts where we believe that the sediment is high enough to restrict our boats. Unload as much as we can and continue forward.
You've got friends in Lockhart Lake, didn't you say, Leith? Your servants of the Fox?
Well, yes.
Could you not contact them and they could bring something? Not openly themselves, but I don't know, bring a friend of a friend to come help us?
Oh, well, yes, I do. Leith rifles through his bag and pulls out like a little wrapped package and puts it out on the table and unwraps it, and there's a little stone inside. And he goes, I was given this sending stone to try and to be able to get back to them, but I'm not sure if it would take us all.
No, all we have to do is for you to get back. Tell them where you need them to be, and they'll be there. But we have to decide where we need them to be.
Or we could get there, send Leith, and then we kind of prepare ourselves for by the time Leith gets back.
But the ship.
Russell?
Yes, sir.
I still have that stone, don't I?
You do.
Just making sure.
Yes, you do.
The ships won't get up the river.
Don't worry, Leith, I would have shot you down by now.
Sure. Okay. Do I know that if it would take all of us, or if it would?
When you say take all of you, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is it just a sending spell, or is it?
It just informs them to take the illusionary magic down so that you can find the place.
Oh, okay. This stone doesn't exactly transport any of us. It's simply to inform them that I'm in the area, so that they're able to reveal the island to me.
That is an exciting bit of magic.
Yes. Although
you hear
it does leave
footsteps coming down the corridor.
And it is the closest place to us anywhere in the world that any of us I feel would be safe.
I think Leith might be right. If we're to make a quick escape and a quick hide, then that might be the best place to go.
True, but I'm also aware. I've suddenly also just thought if we have an entire ship laden with magic items and the Blackguard are running amok, they come past us, they're gonna have a field day with the contents of our ship.
If they catch it.
If we're beached, they'll catch it.
Is there any way that we could? Is there any way that we could know? That's the problem.
going to be a gamble either way, so I think it's deciding on which gamble we like the best.
I think so.
Well, let's do it then. Which
Let's,
gamble do we go for?
I put my hand up for Lockhart Lake. We have friends there, and it's close. Worst case scenario, one boat gets beached, and we use our formidable combined powers to unbeach it, and we make for another port.
Well, yes.
I second that.
That seems like a good idea.
Yes, I'll second that.
Any objections?
Nope. I like that
Huzzah.
plan.
So, at that point, Drizael, you realize, is standing in the doorway behind you all, leaning against the wall. What's this about servants of the fox? Who's that?
They are a powerful organization who are able to give us protection.
Oh, yes.
That I have been associated with in the past, and they are good people. And
Why have I not been invited to join them?
Good people part has very big cutoff.
He looks at you, Adrian. What?
It was a poor attempt at humor.
Oh, you're being funny, lad. I see.
Yes, I think I should rather stop trying.
You're not getting paid to be funny. But you are getting
No.
paid, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I believe Hazeldrill has sent a... he seems to be stumbling around looking for words and swallowing them. Hazeldrill has sent a messenger requesting your presence if you're so inclined in receiving the rest of your rewards.
Let's go.
yes, I think that would be a good idea before we leave the city, or at least attempt to.
You know that foul little elf, the one with the dagger, what's his name, Laertes or something? He's downstairs
Yes, that's the
waiting
one.
for you. I left him outside at the gate. I'm not having him in my house.
No, it sounds like a good idea.
Who?
Well,
Your castle, your rules.
Laertes, Hazeldrill's little tinker man.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Well, shall we?
Yes, I
Yes.
think we should.
Right.
Adric's going to walk up to Drizael, give him a hug, and say, "Thank you for your hospitality, cousin. Hopefully see you soon."
And you too, cousin. May we all get rich together.
Aye. Aye.
Now, see if you can get out of here before that dirty Barakail mage arrives and tears the city apart, looking for you.
Not a problem. Aye, we'll be dust in the wind before he even gets a sniff in.
And Adric, I owe you a lot. If you could see if you can preserve some more of that treasure from those ships, you know.
That's the plan. As much as I can bring back with me.
You know what kind of things I'm interested in, right?
Remind me.
Well, if it glows and it's magic, or if it's golden, or if it's old, or if it has some kind of value to it that can be either sold or kept and stored for centuries to increase its price, then that's my type of thing.
I can tell you one thing. If it's any of the things we've picked up from the dig site or below ground, it fits all of those descriptions.
Well,
So you've
says
got your pick of the litter.
Xandor says, well, my friends, most likely, then if we can get you anything from that ship, yes, you're probably in for a treat then, because I feel that almost every single item that was chosen to go on those boats was of that description. That was the whole point. We spent a lot of time and a lot of resources making sure that we were very selective about what went on those boats.
Yes, I'm sure we'll be able to bring something back. Now, I really think we should get going.
Right, yes, let's...
Yes.
Do you want me to come with you for this?
The closer you are with us, Sandor, the better, I believe.
We would appreciate your assistance in this, Sandor.
Very well.
I'll show them every short way I know how to get there.
All right,
That
so...
they can manage.
Right, okay, so you leave the building and you head out onto the street. Leith, As you step out of the building, out onto the street, and into the hustle and bustle of Vaingate, everything kind of goes a little dim for a moment, and the clouds kind of darken, and nobody else really senses this. For everybody else, it's kind of mild sunlight, but for you, the darkness somebody's just turned the contrast up significantly, and you feel the presence of Tozen in your mind approaching you. He is coming for you, Mistralath. The One.
Vorbis?
I should think that is his name, yes.
This is why the urgency for me to get away.
Yes.
I do know that.
I will do my best to distract him for you. I will buy you some time.
Can you give us a sign?
I will do my best, but if you see a sign, you will know what it is when you see it.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
A thunderstorm breaks out in the middle of the day.
Beautiful, we can use that.
Well, I think we should go, everyone. We should get to Hazeldrill as soon as possible, and leave town immediately.
On the way.
All right. So you guys make your way across town as quickly as you can, I assume, and you travel. You know the drill. You get to
The Hazeldrill.
the hassle drill, and it becomes a bit of a hassle drill because as you get to Karkanos, you cross the Droob and you go through the river town and you cross the Droob and you get to the bridges, the three main bridges, and you go across the Asterion Gate arch bridge to the gate itself, and the guards there are standing outside. All right, state your business. Oh look, that's Milford Brixton. Look at that. And he's got friends this time. Look at that. Oh, I think I recognise some of you. Isn't Milford Brixton on our wanted list, sir? I don't know. He wasn't last time I checked, but I suppose one of you should go and have a look in the tower and see whether or not he's on the list. One of them goes wandering off back to the gatehouse, which is like 20 feet away.
How much gold does it usually take to bribe them?
Oh, depends. Depends how much urgency there is and how poor they are that day and how many people have managed to exploit.
I'm gonna.
So you're having a nice day, are you, Mr. Brixton?
It's not a bad day. And I'm sure I could make yours better, as he puts a gold in his hand. Or even better.
Or even better, you say?
Yes. What are
Well,
we talking? How much better can I make you day?
me old video camera's having a bit of a problem at the moment. Oh dear, Zoomer's gonna crash. Man. Oh dear. Alright,
Oh
so
dear.
hold on a second. We're going to go to our emergency Zoom room over here. So that we won't lose you guys at the very least. And several of you are on the co-host list, so we should be able to mitigate any serious issues. In any case...
And here was I getting all weirded out because I thought you had suddenly switched into a steampunk campaign, Russell.
Right.
With observation cameras.
Right. That's it. That's right. So the guard that was in the tower comes back out again. He looks at the first guard for a moment. And he says, "Yes, my lord. I think Mr. Brixton is on our list." Well, you hear that, Mr. Brixton? You better put your hands up.
Oh, what's the bounty for this good fine fellow?
I don't think there's a bounty. I think he's wanted. So, Mr. Brixton,
Well, surely there's some,
hands
yes,
out.
surely there's a bail. Some sort
Yes,
of bail
surely
for him.
there must be some sort of bond on him or something like that we could pay off to get through the gate. I think. Here are my papers.
All right, Leith, you put forward your papers, and you can make a persuasion check. If you're putting forward some gold with those papers, you can have advantage on that persuasion check.
I'm putting forward a gold for each of them.
All right.
So there's 3 of them there now, right?
Yeah.
And I rolled a 22.
Oh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I don't think that is Mr. Brixton. I'm fairly sure that must be... You must be Mr. Brixton's cousin or someone.
I do believe it's not Mr. Brixton.
No, well, very well. Go on through. You better get on fast. It's starting to rain right now.
He's gone.
Right, so you guys all head on through the gate. And you go through the Asterion Arch, and off you go up through the city to the Nag's Head. And when you get there, mysteriously, Laertes is not standing out the front. There is instead a halfling standing out the front with a hood lowered, leaning back against the door. He sees you coming and he peeks up under the hood and he just turns and pushes the door open and steps back out of the way.
Well, thank you kindly, friends.
He nods. So you go inside and the halfling follows you and closes the door behind you and locks the door.
Thank you, friend.
He nods. He points up the stairs to Hazeldrill, who's standing next to a table up there with a wide grin on his face. Well, friends, countrymen, do come upstairs. I have wine. Mr. Montcoff, I'm sure you'll be interested to know that.
Yes, that does rather put my anxieties to rest.
I'm sure it does. Now, I'd like to congratulate you all and every one of you on your recent business, shall we say. Yes? Well done. And as you go up the stairs and you get to the top of the stairs, you notice there's a bunch of stuff on the table, just laying there. In the middle of the table, there's a whole bunch of bottles that look like they might have potions in them. There is a huge golden mace sitting on the table. There are a number of things, and I will basically just list them. There's a rope all curled up. At one point, there's a hat sitting there. There's a couple of little stones. In fact, there's a number of little stones on the table right now. There's a small wooden box. There's a little bottle, clear bottle with some dust in it. There is some studded leather armor, approximately, elven-sized, laying out on the table. It's very glamorous to look at. There's a large bag. Well, no, it's not a large bag. It's a small bag. Might be larger on the inside, though, you suspect. What else is just lying on this table? There's a large shield laying there with an eye imprinted on the front of it, and a box of pigments, which is laid open. A number of scrolls, a small crystal, and a bird made out of paper, and a book about this thick. Kind of, it's not a huge, big, scary book. It's just a small book, but also
Small,
quite
scary
thick.
book. Yes.
Now, on the
Not
other side of
just
the
scary.
table, you'll notice that there is a number of other things that seem to be sort of piled up and kept separate from this stuff. In fact, it's on a different table at the other side of the room. And you'll see that over there there's a shield and some various types of armor, a couple of shields actually, some other boots and gems and a robe, and there's a brooch lying around on that table. Oh dear, my camera's died again. Isn't that fantastic? Having one of those nights tonight. Yippee-ki-yay. Anyhow.
Oh, no, you're coming back.
Am I?
Excellent.
Slowly. You're
think so.
freezing in and out.
Oh, yay. So, okay. Yippee-ki-yay. I'll just cut my video for a moment and see if we can get through this bullshit. I'll zoom. Anyway, Hazeldrill says, so, please, come, sit.
We do so.
You do so.
Thank you.
We
Thank
do
you
so.
very much.
Thank you very
Sorry.
much.
And he begins to pour each of you a glass from one of his very expensive bottles. So, congratulations once again. It is in order. You have done very good business for us. I should like to commend you all, and it has come to my attention that you deserve some sort of recompense for the risks that you have taken. We have, from the wealth of objects that have been uncovered, well, shall we say, the triumvirate has looked at all things and considered them and what best fate they should take and have. And Mr. Glass has offered to donate many items in lieu of original Ostorian artifacts, which will be less of use to you and more of use to him and us, in such a way that you might obtain things that are of value to yourselves. Does that all sound reasonable?
More than reasonable.
Yes,
That's
very, very
amazing.
reasonable. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hazeldrill. And may I say it's very good to meet you finally.
Oh, yes, you must be the cleric that I've not met yet.
Yes,
Of course.
my name is Goodale.
Very nice to meet you too, Goodale. Excellent. Well, I am still struggling with my camera. Role-playing and cameraing is an interesting skill of the streaming dungeon master, and I have not yet mastered it. So, in any case, he sort of points to the things on the table and he says, "Well, Mr. Brixton, I'd like to begin with you, as you have been in my employ the longest, and I feel that you deserve some recompense not just for this job, but for the many jobs that you have done for me in the past, going back quite some time. So I shall begin with this. This is a ring of what they call evasion. And this will assist you in a number of ways. You'll discover them when you put it on. I won't keep you too long. Here is a rope of climbing, which I understand, according to Mr. Glass, you have encountered before. You've had to return it, and Mr. Glass said you were quite fond of it, and therefore I should make that one of the things that you should have made available to you. So I do suggest you take that. Here's a 2 potions of spider climbing. You might find those useful too. I understand you like to go in through high places, often known as the burglar of Vaingate in the past. I've heard the terms. And this here, a single but very useful potion of invisibility. Also possibly quite useful in your line of work. Here we have some poison for you, Mr. Brixton. Be very careful with it. It's deadly. Now, this box here, Mr. Brixton, I should like you to be very careful with these. It contains 2 stones. They are known as sending stones. You'll find that they will aid you in communicating with at least one of your fellows over the course of your future adventures. So be careful with those and do not lose them. They're worth a small fortune in and of themselves, and I'm sure you understand the implications. And lastly but not least, here is a hat of disguise. And that
Thank
should
you,
be
Mother.
your crowning item, I suspect.
Thank you, Mother.
Very good then. I shall make provision for you to have all of these things bagged appropriately if you so desire. Adric! Mr. Fogdar!
Aye.
One of
Pardon,
my
that's a swine.
one of my more recent what's the word? Companions,
Associates.
associates.
Associates is good.
Yes. For you, we have 3 potions of speed.
Much thank you.
This here is a potion of invulnerability. also supplied by our good friend Mr. Glass. 3 potions of enlargement. I understand that you don't need these, but Mr. Glass was adamant that you should have them.
Always useful. Always useful.
He said something about you being a very small little man, but nonetheless.
Little does he know.
Little does he know. Here, further to these, I would like you to choose one of these. These are called Ion Stones, or Ion Stones. They belonged to the deity Ion, or at least they're named in the honor of. One of them is for regeneration, and the other is fortitude. I should like you to choose one of these 2 things. You may think on this.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Lath,
Yes, sir.
here is a potion of clairvoyance for your pack.
Oh, yes,
A
thank you.
potion of mind reading, also maybe of some use to you. This little box here is something I've been told by Mr. Glass you also have some association with. It's a folding boat, something that might be useful to you.
Oh, yes, that would be very useful for our current needs.
Yes. This staff here I have been told not to discuss or disclose to anyone but you, and thus I pass you this note. And he hands you a small piece of parchment that says you will need to attune to this item and it will speak to you. Here is a small bottle of dust. This dust will aid you in disappearing if you so desire. It will make you invisible for a few minutes. You and or your companions in a small space, if required. You can cast it upon yourselves and vanish. Very handy in a tight spot, I'm led to understand.
Yes, very much appreciated.
Here is a small wand, Mr. Lath. This wand we call a wand of secrets.
Oh, what wonderful. Thank you.
This will reveal hidden doors and secret chambers. If required, do not use all of its charges at once. And last but not least for you, Mr. Mistralath, glamored studded leather armor.
Oh,
which I'm sure will assist you in your future endeavors.
This is all very generous of you, Mr. Hazeldrill. I very much appreciate it, and thank you very much for all of your wonderful hospitality. Letha's nearly crying.
Well, you have worked exceedingly hard and taken enormous risks on behalf of the Triumvirate, and let it not be known or said that we do not care for those who have assisted us.
Thank you so much.
Edrin.
Ah, yes. Hello, Lord Hazeldrill.
Here are some scrolls that might interest you. You will, of course, note the contents of these scrolls for yourself.
No, thank you.
And you notice that there is 3 main spells here, these 3 scrolls, which I'm out of game. I'm led to understand you can copy them into your spell book at some stage if you are able to, and so on. The first one is Thunderstep, the second one is Tidal Wave, and the third is Counterspell.
Ooh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much, Lord Hazeldrill. These are very, very grand and gifts to me. Thank you very much.
I am not yet done. Here, some 2 potions of healing, which would keep you in health for a little while, and something Mr. Glass referred to as sovereign glue. I'm not quite sure what this does, but he suggested you are exceedingly careful and don't get it on yourself.
Very, very good. I shall endeavour to do so. Thank you, sir.
It's some sort of very powerful adhesive. And finally, a book. And he points to the book that was you saw on the table earlier, and he pushes that in your direction. Something else that might assist you in your endeavors. Now, good ale.
Thank you very much.
My new
Sir.
Associate, Goodale. Here is a bag of holding.
Oh,
Mr. Glass suggested that you were to be given this bag of holding due to the fact that you were the most trustworthy of this bunch of brigands, and that if they needed to store things, you would be the one who would be most likely to keep them for them and not have them go missing. Thusly, it has been given to my... it's been suggested to me that I hand this to you specifically. So here is a bag of holding.
oh, thank you.
This mace also has been granted to you by Lady Irelanthra Imdrael. Specifically, she has asked to have this handed to you from the vaults of the Daughters of Twilight, and Millmore has most graciously made this available to you from his vaults. Along with it is this shield. The mace is known as the Mace of Disruption. This is a shield known as the Sentinel.
Sentinel. Wow.
This box of pigments, Millmore has asked also that was to be given to you as a gift. He told me that he was moved to give it to you, and he had little else to say on the matter.
Oh,
He said that the
how interesting.
pigments
Thank you so
themselves
much.
were somehow marvelous and might have been created by someone under the name Nolzer, I am not sure. Something along those lines. Now,
Should I do a history check? Do I know Nolzer?
you do not know Nolzer.
Okay.
You do not, I'm afraid. Okay. And that, my dear friends, for now, is all I have to give.
Oh, thank you very
That's
much, Hazel.
amazing.
That is
Thank you.
that is more than enough, Mr. Hazeldrill. Your generosity knows no bounds.
Well, I hope these things assist you in your upcoming adventures, quests, and other endeavors. I'm led to believe that you have one rather, shall we say, daunting individual on your tail. And rather than having him come to my door, I would prefer that you had a fighting chance to get away, and thus these things have been given to you to perhaps draw him off our backs and then dump him somewhere in the middle of the ocean, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion.
Well,
Well,
we'll
we'd
do our
rather
best.
not be anywhere near him, to be quite honest.
Well, that is your business, and I prefer not to know what it is that you plan to do. So, that shall be all. If there's any other questions, do ask them. Now is your chance.
Well, Russell,
Okay, yes?
could we have a list of what we received, please?
A list. You just want everything, don't you?
Because I didn't quite catch everything.
I'm sorry, it's all gone now.
Oh well, I got the best bits.
the table was a mimic. It just ate everything.
Right.
Oh,
You would
no,
like
no,
a
no.
list.
Why would you
Yes,
keep
please.
that thing?
A list.
It's
All
a
right.
nice, fun little pet to keep around.
I will provide you with a list in good time.
Thank you.
So
Right.
these things that we've just received, is there a way to put them into our...
Character sheets?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go into your character builder or you go into your equipment manager and you ask it to add items.
Yeah.
And then you
Build-
choose
A
the
link on the right that says manage equipment.
manage equipment.
Right.
And then you can add items and you should be able to search for them and add them. And if you can't find them, they might not be in D&D Beyond.
Ah, right. Okay. Gotcha.
So that's the only caveat I place on that. I'm going to try and restart my camera again because this bugs me.
Because we can't see
there
your
we go.
beautiful face, Russell.
Well, other than having
Now we can.
Can now.
rather than having Lumix all over the screen. And I put so much time into this
Russell's
lighting,
back.
to be fair. You know, there's that.
Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Russell,
Yes, Barry.
can you put my equipment in at some point?
I will, of course.
Thank you
I
very
shall.
much.
I shall. Okay, so I'll give you a quick recap, all right? How about that?
Yep. That would be great.
So, recap. Barry, potions of spider climbing times 2. Potion of invisibility times 1. Poison. 2 times sending stones for Milford Brixton, and a ring of evasion. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do is I will tell you what the ring of evasion does, because I am nice like that. Evasion. Okay, so the ring of evasion has 3 charges. Okay, and it regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn. When you fail a dexterity saving throw while you are wearing this ring, you can use a reaction to spend 1 of its charges to succeed the saving throw instead.
Okay.
So, for example, when you are trying to drop poison in an ogre's meal,
Let us not remember that.
and it
Barry.
grabs you by the head and throws you over its head onto your back in front of it, and you have to make a dexterity saving throw, and you fail and nearly die, you could spend a charge from this ring and succeed on the saving throw instead.
Luckily, that exact scenario has never happened.
That exact scenario, my goodness, no.
that would never happen. That would be
Something
deeply
like that.
embarrassing.
That's
Not
ridiculous.
to Milford Brixton.
That's ridiculous. How would that even... Couldn't possibly have
But
happened.
you know, we're talking theory here, so yes.
Right. So in theory, that's the way it could be used. Now, what else did we have here? So that was Milford. Oh yes, poison ingredients. So you know how you need ingredients to make poisons for your feet, your poisoner feet.
Yeah.
Some poison ingredients have magically turned up in your little box. And there is a hat of disguise, which we shall outline for you too, because it is useful to know what things do. Hat. Come on, give me hat. Oh, wow.
Russell, just while that's loading,
Yeah.
just for a general rule, if we were to imbibe a potion during combat, would that be an action or a bonus action?
An action.
Cool.
To be a full action. And I'm tempted. I was recently thinking about this quite seriously. I don't think you can really drink potions during combat if you want to have your dexterity bonus to your armor class at least. I think it's ludicrous. But that's just my opinion. It is just a game of medieval high fantasy, so whatever.
I don't know, man. I've seen some uni students chug a lot more than a potion in 6 seconds.
Right. Yeah, but they weren't getting pounded on, were they?
Well, to your knowledge.
Yeah,
Not to my knowledge.
It's been a long time since you've been to an O week, isn't it?
That could be true. That could be true. All right, so Barry, your hat of disguise is an uncommon, wondrous item. It does require attunement, so it's going to be an item. You can only have 3 items that require attunement. So now you've got 2 rings and a hat that require attunement. While wearing this hat, you are able to use an action to cast Disguise Self at will. The spell ends if the hat is removed, so you have to wear the hat, but you can disguise yourself using the spell Disguise Self at will. And the spell lasts for an hour. To basically everything, including your clothing, your armor, your weapons, your belongings on person, look different until the spell ends or you dismiss it. You can be a foot shorter or taller. You can appear fat or thin or anywhere in between. You cannot change your body type, so you must adopt a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs. You can't be a giant spider or a dragon or something like that. You have to be a humanoid of some description. Okay, so that's basically what it does.
Do I have to have seen the thing I disguised myself as?
I'm going to say yes, because otherwise how would you know what you're trying to turn yourself into?
Because, for instance, I've seen a dark
Dark
Black
elf.
Knight's armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
totally do that. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Black Guard,
might-
you're saying.
He
Black
might have
Guard,
a
yes,
vivid-
Black
He
Guard's
might have a
armor.
particularly vivid imagination, though.
And
Yes,
Crow
yes.
Studios also agrees with me that yes, drinking casually a potion in the heat of combat is a bit silly. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Somebody give that man
A
do we
knock
have-
on the head.
right.
Give that
Do we
man a
have
cookie.
anything? Some divinity points to spend. There you go.
Okay, next one.
All right, moving right along. So the next person was Adric, I believe. So 3 potions of speed, 1 potion of invulnerability, 3 potions of enlarge, an
Yep.
ion stone of.
I have taken regeneration.
Okay, regeneration. Very good.
Just so I'm clear, the potion of enlarge does the same as the enlarge spell.
It does exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Basically, it just gives you a couple of extra chances at using your power that you already have. Pretty much.
I'm grateful for that because currently I only have the 2.
I know, right? So yeah, exactly. Leith,
Huzzah!
Yes.
a potion of clairvoyance,
Clairvoyance.
a potion of mind reading, kind of similar but different.
Yep.
Who's this clairvoyance lady?
Clairvoyance, right? A fridge lands on your head and you. A potion of mind reading. Yep. Folding boat.
A folding boat, very useful.
God, that's so useful.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We have been saved.
And your character doesn't know this yet, Leith, but you have a staff of power.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, good, I can retire. You've all got that
Holy
stuff. You don't need
Moses.
me. I'll go home.
Then you have dust of disappearance,
Dust of disappearance.
a wand of secrets,
Yep.
it's probably just easier to go through this the second time like this now. Glamoured studded leather,
Yes.
and that's it. Goodale,
Yes.
bag of holding,
Mace of Disruption.
pearl of power.
Oh, Pearl of Power. I missed that one.
Maybe I forgot to tell you. Oh, well, it's there in any case. There's a pearl of power.
That do.
And a +1 sentinel shield. And the Mace of Disruption. And Nolzur's marvelous pigments.
I looked that one up. That's cool.
Right. So again, you don't know what that does yet, okay?
Okay,
So
okay.
as with the Staff of Power, I'd like to see some role playing,
Yes.
figuring it out. Edrin, you good? You good with those ones, Goodale? You got that all noted? Yep. Okay, so Edrin, we've got Sovereign Glue.
Oh yes.
The crystal was the Eyes of Minute Seeing.
Oh, I didn't get the crystal.
Okay.
Eyes of minute seeing.
Except
Nice.
that it comes in the form of a small crystal instead of a pair of glasses because we don't have none of that steampunk shit in this game.
Like a magnifying glass. It's like a little magnifying glass.
Right? It's like
kinda
well,
esque.
it's a crystal. It's got sharp
Yeah.
facets. You know, it's a 3-dimensional object. It's not lenticular.
No.
And a paper bird. And then you've
Yeah.
got those 3 scrolls which have Tidal Wave, Thunderstep, and Counterspell,
Yeah.
and then Arcane Grimoire,
Yes, and the 2 healing potions.
and the 2 healing potions. Yes.
Awesome. Sweet. Dankeschön.
All right, there you go. So, Hazeldrill toasts you again with another bottle of extraordinarily expensive elven alcohol, and you can all make Constitution checks.
And we
Unless-
get going, and I take them through the deepest, darkest places that I know, so they don't get seen. That they can handle.
Oh,
Constitution-
shit!
Constitution check or saving throw?
Saving throw.
Saving throw.
I don't have any drink.
Oh, wait, no, I get advantage because
I
poison.
just have a little bit.
No,
6.
I'm not having a little bit.
So Leaf, did you say?
Natural 20.
Leaf,
I
did you
got a
say you had a little bit? Is that what?
I get a 6, but Leith doesn't drink a lot.
Okay, you can roll with advantage then, Leaf. You can roll a second dice.
Okay. Oh, no, rolled the wrong one. Constitution saving throw.
Are we all doing Constitution saving throws?
If you're toasting, you're drinking Hazel Drill's
The
finest.
second
No,
save was an 18. So
I'm not toasting or drinking because I don't think the mission's over yet.
Oh.
Adrix pounded that drink back. And because I'm a dwarf, I got the advantage to poison. And remarkably, I rolled 7 twice.
Wow.
Oh no.
So Adric's kind of spinning. All right.
What was in that drink?
What do you mean, what was in it, Adric? It is the finest elven blueberry wine from the region known as the Lockhart Valley.
Pardon. I had a dragon's breath earlier, and this must just tip me over the edge. Oh, God.
Is the elf drinking you under the table, Edric?
The elf didn't have a dragon's breath before this, did he?
No, that is fair.
Can you
However,
two
I
get
feel
on
fine.
with it?
All right.
We gotta get going.
That went down rather smooth for me,
And
personally.
Goodale, did Goodale imbibe of the wine?
It's gonna be rather
I
smooth
rolled a
if
12.
we get caught.
You're all right.
God.
You're fine. All right, very well. So
Come
then,
on, you lot.
I shall bid you all good and farewell. I may or may not see you at any time in the near future. I hope that you have luck with your future endeavors and that one day we shall meet again. Mr.
Aye.
Brixton, can you try and put your head in the center of your frame?
I don't
Because
want to put my head in the center
Audience
of my
want to
frame.
see your beautiful face.
I'm
They can't see
trying
mine
to-
half the time because my camera doesn't freaking work most of the time, but they can at least look at you.
Oh, it just shows what their taste is like, I'll tell you.
Excellent.
All right.
Anyway, let's get going, you lot.
All right
Okay.
then.
All right,
Wait till
let's
now.
go.
Right.
And Goodale inclines her head at Hazeldrill and does the light, life, liberty, and love.
You can have inspiration, Goodale, for doing that.
The door is this way, you moron. Come on.
All right. Just hold my hand. Fuck me.
I start leading Edric out.
All right.
I'll just walk it off. Hey.
Adrian, I
Right,
assume
you
you made your
sure
saving
you're
throw,
good?
right?
Oh,
Mr.
yeah, no,
Edric,
I very loudly announced I had a natural 20.
That's right. Okay, cool. I do remember that, yes. Okay.
Keep track now.
Keep
Come
track.
on.
All right,
Let's
so
get
you go
going.
stumbling out of the Nag's Head back out onto the streets of Vaingate in the Carcanos district. Very well, and it's still raining at the moment. People
Now
have their
follow
hoods
me,
pulled
will
over
ya?
their head. You see a three-legged dog kind of wander past in the mud, and a cart rides past, spraying dirt and mud and water everywhere.
New shield.
Hey, Ruff, get off the street, you stupid dog. Yeah,
Looks at you.
get off the street, you stupid dog.
Right.
Dog's got remarkably good taste.
Come
So-
on. This way now.
You start heading down the street, and everyone make a perception check, please. Perception check.
22.
22.
6.
17.
Oh, 7.
18.
18. Okay, so am I hearing Milford and Edrin pass that check?
Leith.
And Leaf.
And Leaf?
Unless 22 is.
Oh,
not
right.
good enough.
Sorry. No, don't be sarcastic. I have many fridges. I've got at least 4 more fridges waiting in that cloud. All right. So you guys are wandering along the street, and you have the distinct impression that there is a young child following the three of you. Milford, you're pretty sure you know who it is.
Milford, I think it's one of your urchins again.
What are you doing?
It's
Yeah.
Taran. His name is Taran, Milford.
Darren, what's up?
He says, is that Mr. Milstralath?
Yes, that is Mr. Laugh.
He kind of giggles and runs off.
wonder what that was about.
Hmm.
Okay, let's be careful from now on.
Yes. Are you sure that was one of Mother's? Is it one
I
of
know-
hers?
I know all Mother's urchins.
All right. Why is she particularly
Um,
interested in Leith?
How was it me?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
well,
what I'm-
he said Mr. Lath. That
Oh,
is you, I
okay.
assume.
I thought he was talking to Mr. Brixton. Am
Now-
I able to, as he's running away, cast detect thoughts on him?
Yeah, sure.
Yep. What do I gather?
Okay, detect thoughts. Do I get a saving throw?
Read the thoughts of certain creatures when you cast a spell. Focus. No?
I think surface thoughts are free reign, but if you want to probe deeper, it's got to be a
It's a
saving
wisdom
throw.
saving throw, yeah, if it's deeper.
Okay, so surface thoughts are. This is hilarious. I've got to run back to my friends and tell them.
I'm gonna probe deeper to ask them to find out. Tell them what.
What's the DC?
The DC would be. What's my spell save DC? Is 13.
13. Okay, fails the DC. Right, so you want to probe a little deeper.
Yeah.
He's got an image of you in his head, and he's thinking about a rumor that he heard earlier today that you are of interest to the court of Claresca, Queen Claresca.
Oh. Well. I think we should. I think we should go, everyone.
What are you? Has that
What's
child
wrong?
made you a bit spooked, Leith? Was that the sign?
I
that
think I'm. I think I. Well, yes. I really think we should go.
Let's get going then.
All right, okay, let's keep going, Leith. You'll be all right. It's just a child. I know they can be mean, but I don't think you've got anything to be worried about.
Well, it's not quite what the child was thinking. It was more the consequences of such. And
What do you mean consequences?
I'm not sure I want to face her again. I think we should go.
Face who?
You're talking about Mother? I mean, I know she's cronish, and I don't blame you, but I mean, if we need
I
information,
beg your
No,
pardon.
no, not
he's
mother.
a little bit.
Mother's
not
wonderful. Mother is wonderful.
We're walking while we're having this discussion, right?
I just
Yes,
think
we
should.
are walking while we're having this
Yes.
discussion. All right.
Let's just
do you want me to
keep-
chase the kid?
Let's just keep moving swiftly. And he puts his hood up.
Okay, he moved. Have you got that cloak with you?
Well, that's why I put my hood up.
Good. Okay, let's go.
I tap Adric on the shoulder,
Hey,
and I start conversing in Dwarven. We all agreed we would go towards Lockhart Lake, but you did have a big interest in Abnor Gerd earlier. Are you happy with how things are going?
I want to see this through first, because I'm not quite ready to depart from you all just yet, just in case.
Fair
Next
enough. Very
Abnor.
good. Next Abnor. Right.
Thank you, my
Very
friend.
good. Oh, no worries. My pleasure. And then I suppose we'll already keep moving. We'll continue
when I-
moving.
Adric, at the end of this conversation, as sober as he sounds, is going to stumble near a bush, and he's going to puke his guts out.
Yes, let it all out. Let it all out, buddy. It's...
Yes,
Yes, it's quite strong. Yes.
that elder flowered wine elf bullshit. Never again.
Doesn't mix well with dragon's breath, I assume.
Nope.
No. All right. All right.
There we
I
go.
thought the wine was rather fine.
Yeah,
It was
different
lovely.
taste, different strokes. I'm done.
Right. So where are you heading? Literally, like, what direction are you going?
To
right
where
now?
the boats are.
So you're heading to the docks.
Yes. And I'm picking the.
If that is
Most-
where the boats are, yes.
All right. So the Droob.
Yes. You're heading towards the Drove,
Okay, and you get down
which
to...
is in the centre of the city, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so you get down to the riverside, to the river district, and you head on through the Droob. And you get to the dockyards. It is daytime, so there's a lot of people around. There are carts and things, even though it's raining. There's a little bit less work going on. In fact, you notice some of the work crews are sort of standing under shelter, playing dice and such, drinking small amounts of ale. They're not allowed to drink large amounts of ale because it might stop raining and they might have to go back to work. So, that's what they're doing at the moment. They're having a little bit of a break in case they smash stuff or have slip-ups in the rain.
I look at our wizard friend and ask him, where are the boats?
Oh, you're talking to Xandor, right?
Dandor.
Well,
Boots.
yes, they'll be down here, probably near this direction. And he starts leading you down towards the north wall end of the river district here.
Let's be careful that our friend that we don't want to catch us hasn't already beat us here.
That's a good point you have there, Mr. Brixton. That is
What's he look like?
You won't miss him if you see him. He will have an entourage, most likely, and he may... He's a wizard of Barakyle, of a very high-ranking type. He's quite conspicuous.
Sounds about right.
All right. So everybody keep their eyes open and make sure we're not being followed as well.
So you look around, you see there's one huge Goliath who's still actually working unloading stuff at the moment on one of the boats nearby. And Rem comes over to you and he says, if you want to huddle round, I think it's that boat over there with the Goliath on it. That's the one that we're dealing with.
Okay.
Right, so can you... Are we able to just wave him away, or do we have to convince him to leave?
It'll be that boat and the one next to it. Those two are the ones.
All right.
Okay. Do you see the person we don't want to see anywhere?
I don't see him. If he was here, we'd almost definitely know about it by now. Unless he's really laying in wait for us inside or something like that. Would have to be.
I don't see why he would.
Could be a serious trap, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem to me like the sort that lays traps so much as just confronts.
All right, stop being the boss you are then and get it moving.
All right then. Would you
We'll
want to?
be your entourage.
It might be even easier if you fellows. That there's a small tavern back there, the Red Raven Tavern. Do you know it?
Of course.
Could become familiar.
It's just there. If you wait there, I'll come and
Oh
find you.
no, Mr. Adric, no more drink for you today.
Not like that. Not like that.
Okay,
Could
very
be-
good.
Nice.
Okay, we'll do as you say, but hurry.
Right, I'll come and find you once it's sorted. All right.
All right.
How long do you think it would take?
If I'm not back in 30 minutes, then you might want to start considering other plans.
Brixton,
Very
could
good.
you
Should we look
use
for you,
those-
Mr. Rem?
You'll probably find me on one of those two boats.
Brixton, could you hand Xandor one of your sending stones?
That's
So you
what I
can,
was going to do.
Great minds.
Okay, Xandor, take this.
Yes,
Keep in contact with me so I can hear what's going on.
Well, just a moment. There's something you haven't considered here with these stones, and I just need to check something out of game. Apparently, you do not need to attune them,
Huzzah!
which is quite handy in this case.
I'm
Excellent.
going to say, huzzah!
Huzzah. It's catching on, Adric. It's catching on.
Okay.
Our first T-shirt.
All right then.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
In very
Huzzah, the
shaky
t-shirt.
italics.
And on the back of the shirt it says, It says on the back of the shirt, and stone is just the trees of the dirt.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
I
Mr.
think
Zan.
I think that's the more original than Huzzah, to be quite honest. So
Yeah, Huzzah has been done
Yeah.
before, to be fair. That's
Yeah.
true, but it is quite common here with Adric. All right, Xandor disappears out of, and he heads towards the boat. And you guys are heading for the Red Ravens Tavern, I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I would know the Red Ravens Tavern, wouldn't I?
You do know the Red Ravens Tavern. You
Is
happen
there
to
a
know.
back door? A quick kick, is it?
Yes and no.
Could I make a back door?
You know that there is a back door, but you know the back door has guards, and that the Red Ravens Tavern is named thusly because it is owned and run by a mercenary unit named the Red Ravens,
Yes.
who
That's where the
specialize
mercenaries hang out, isn't it?
in intelligence gathering,
Okay.
and they sell their intelligence to anyone who will pay them. Which may or
Okay.
may not include your enemies. So if you were to run out the back door, they might be like, well, I'll tell you where he went, but it's going to cost you. And if the person had required coin, they would probably tell you exactly where he went. So, that's the
Yeah,
risk.
but they wouldn't know after that.
That's probably true. Yeah. So that's basically the situation.
Okay.
All right.
Might Adric have become familiar with this information as well? Out of
The Red
curiosity?
Ravens, you can make a history check.
Okay.
You can do it with
Just because-
advantage.
That's a 24. Finally,
A
everything's
24.
coming up Millhouse.
All right. Well, yeah, you are aware of the Red Ravens too, and a number of other mercenary units as well. You've heard of the Morg Van Chu also, who are a bunch of goblinoids and orcs. But hey,
No
The su-
judging.
you've also heard of the Sons of Moradin, but you don't want to know anything about them right now, I assume.
Bastards. He's gonna walk up over to next to Brixton as we're walking over to the Red Raven. Hey, Brixton, do you reckon we could throw these gentlemen a few coins to see if they've become aware of Vorbis by his proximity?
You could do that. Yes, you could.
All right, well, I guess that's what I'm going to do.
What's the usual going rate for that sort of information?
Depends on the value of the information. If they're aware
got
of how
that right.
potentially dangerous Vorbis is, potentially high. If they think they could gain more out of it, higher. So the key is to lie and play it down. Oh, I've got a cousin. Goes by the name of Vorbis. He's on the tall side. From
You
the
should
other
be
side
a
of the family.
rogue, you know.
I'm
Really
roguish. I'm roguish. Have you not seen the beard?
You're a natural.
Oh, well, I'm just good at lying.
Okay. That disturbs me somewhat, but okay. All right.
Right.
Off you go. Let's see how you do.
Adric's gonna walk on over to the bartender and climb up. Pardon me, sir. I could go for a bit of information.
What sort of
what's,
information are you looking for, son?
Well, I'm looking for an individual. Oh, I'm looking for the whereabouts of an individual by the name of Vorbis. They're not in the
Vorbis.
Vorbis. Aye.
How do you spell that?
I'm just gonna swivel and look over at the other guys, consider if they know, turn back and go, I believe it's Vorbus.
Vorbus.
I think it might be with an I, Mr. Hedrick.
Vorbus. Like that.
Is that in common tongue?
I believe so.
I see. I'll look into that.
Thank you very much. How much would that cost me? Because I would like to pay up front. I don't want to risk
We don't
harming
work
this
like
potential
that, son.
information.
We don't work like that. It depends how much it depends who it is and how difficult it is to find out. And also depends on whether or not it puts anyone's life in danger.
Valid, fair, understood.
So if you're
And,
trying to find out the location of your long lost living relative in Vaingate, that might be a lot cheaper than if you were trying to find out the name and location of some poor schmuck that got himself locked up in the sufferance up at Highbrook. That might be a bit different, mightn't it?
Oh, no, nothing like that. From what I understand, the gentleman's on his way here, and I just...
Vorbis,
Right.
you say?
Aye.
What information do you have that might help me find this Vorbis? Any,
He's traveling here from the Barrackile.
Barrackile?
Out of sorry, I've forgotten. That's what the actual location's called, right?
Yep,
Right,
Barrackile, yeah.
Yeah, he's traveling here from Barrackile.
He's travelling a Vorbis from Barrackile.
Aye.
You mean like from the envoy, or you mean like from Barrackile, the place?
Yes, both.
Oh my God.
The place. The island.
Oh, you're both interested in this, are you? Are you a whole lot of you interested in this?
Oh, we're together.
Yes, but if it's going to take a long time to find this out, we probably do
Has
need
a
to-
ship come in from the Varicile today? Or yesterday?
Well, we did have a ship come in that was mysteriously not marked and managed to avoid disclosing its locations, its ports of call. So that's quite possible, you see, because certain boats are able to get exemption based on some sort of diplomatic immunity. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It
When
looks
did
like
his ship supposedly come in?
It would have been last night about 3 in the morning.
sounds like a lot.
How much for a drink?
I'm not
drink.
sure we have any more time left for that, Mr. Edrum.
I
think
need
we should have
something
moved.
to. I need something quick to calm my nerves.
Oh, well, make it a takeaway.
The fellow sells you a drink. It's at a reasonable price.
Awesome.
I'll give him a gold piece for his information.
Adric's gonna do the same. Thank you very much, son.
I'll tell you one other thing if you want, for free.
Oh, that's very kind.
That boat's gone. But when it was here, it was very impressive. Not the biggest
Have
boat.
another one, please.
Wasn't the biggest boat I've ever seen, but it was very sharp featured and black.
Did they load anything onto it, do you know? Another gold piece.
I didn't see anything like that, nothing like that. There was a few people came off that boat, just a very few, a handful. Maybe 5 or 6 individuals, looked like wizards or something.
And was there one particular guy that everybody paid attention to and ran around?
Oh, yeah. There was one fellow who was wearing garb from head to foot, and you couldn't see his face. He had like bandages on his face, and all you could see was his eyes, or they really couldn't even look in his eyes for some reason. It was just couldn't quite see him.
Any idea? Does anyone have you heard any word of where he might be at the moment?
Oh, I don't know where he is now, sir. He went further into the city, unfortunately. I assume he must probably went to Barrackile district, probably went to the Wizards district, the Arcane district, if you ask me.
Aye.
It's just a guess, but I think it's a fairly good guess, don't you?
That's a fairly good guess.
Fairly good guess.
Do you know
Okay.
what colour the bandages were over his eyes?
Well, they went over his eyes, sir. They
Oh.
left his eyes open. That's the only thing you could see was there. But what I meant to say, Mr. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is.
And you don't want to because, that's the way the business goes.
Yes.
You don't want
Right.
to know.
Well, in any
I
case,
don't want
Jack,
to know.
the thing is that you couldn't look at his eyes. You just couldn't look at his eyes. Something about him just. Every time you tried to look at that fellow, you would just find some other place to cast your glance.
Brixton, check in on our boy.
I'll listen in.
Adric turns to the bartender. Well, thank you very much for your candor, friend.
Right. Is
Can
there
I have a
anything
second
else?
drink?
Yeah, he makes you another one. I think that's your third one,
Akel,
actually.
I think that's your
shakily
third.
hand. Shakily hand. Just
All right. So Edrin's shaky hands drinking now at the bar at the Red Ravens, in the Droob, at the dockyards, in the Vaingate. All right. Is there anything else I can help you fellows with? I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to go near that fellow if you're looking for him, really.
Oh, he's a friend. I just wanted to know what a surprise party or something.
But thank you very much for your assistance. I think we should be going now.
Aye. Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's go.
also needless to say, it would be good if no one else knew about our little discussion here. And I push 20 gold towards him.
I understand, sir. That's a very wise decision. Very wise decision. You are now paid up front.
Fantastic.
Right.
Very much.
He counts it off and slides it into a wee bag on the other side of the counter. I'll give you a free drink for that one, sir. Gives you another glass of whatever it is that you're drinking.
Just
You know
a
what?
drink.
Have that on me. Have that on me. That's. I think you've earned that for your invaluable information.
All right. Now, can I hear anything?
What's that? Can
From-
you hear anything? No, you can't. You have to actually send a message.
I'm gonna go outside and send this message from somewhere else in case that's exactly what they're waiting for. Okay, so if you see me doing a disappearing act, you'll know we're in trouble.
Don't you worry.
All right. I go to, I don't know, part of the docks away from these guys.
All right. So you sort of wander down the street somewhat.
Yeah.
All right. And
Well,
as you're
well,
wandering down the street, Milford,
Yep.
young boy comes up next to you. Milford Brixton.
What's up?
So your friend, is that your friend, Mr. Mistralath?
I've been known to hang out with him. Why are you so curious?
Well, because I heard the guards are looking for him now.
The
Like,
guards are
and
looking
I'm
for
not
him.
talking about the watch. I'm talking about the guards. You know, like my lord, guards. You know, the guards from the palace are looking for him.
Why are they looking for him?
I don't know that, but they're
What
interested.
did I tell you about? Always finding out about what's going on when you work for
Well,
somebody.
they told. I don't think he's in trouble, Mr. Brixton. I think they just want to talk to him as to what they told us.
Okay. Okay, what do they want to talk to him about? Do you know? You didn't pick it up at all.
Well, I think there's something to do with there's an invitation to the palace, and it's probably like for him and his friends, and it's probably you too, Brixton. Like, you know, you probably all get to go. Didn't you already go to the palace once?
Yeah, that's right.
What was it like?
Oh, I'll tell you someday when I've got the time. But I'm busy at the moment.
All right then. Well, anyway, okay. So that's. Do you want me to go and tell the guards? Because then they can come and give you an invitation.
No, not at the moment. But where can I find you if I need you?
Or are you going to be round the Droob?
I'm gonna be round the Droob.
Right. Well, I'll be underneath the Asterion Bridge on the south side.
Okay, I know where. Usual place where you hang out, then, is it?
Yeah. You'll see me there. You know
Okay,
those kids
Okay.
we like to play coppers with, right?
okay, take this. Get yourself something to eat.
All right. Thanks, Mr.
Okay.
Brixton. Say hello to Mr. Mistralath. I'm sure he's
I
going to be
will.
famous soon.
I will. Okay. Right. Are you there?
What's
Forget
Edrin
it.
laughing at?
Are you there?
Oh, you're sending messages.
Yes.
Yes, we're just trying not to get in the way of everything.
Is that you, Mr. Brixton?
Yes. How's it going?
Negotiations are well at hand, sir. But
He's been here. A ship's been here with him.
I think we must take this small window right now, and you probably should board.
Okay, I'll tell the others.
Come on board the Little Empress.
The little empress.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I come running in. We're going now. Come on.
Oh, thank the gods. We need to get
All
out
right.
of here as soon as possible.
Let's go.
Little empress.
I am just holding on to Adric, and I'll be like, "Don't worry, I'll make sure you don't stumble."
You've got me. You've got me.
Have you two got something going or something? Come on. Let's get going. It's not party time, you know.
Hands shaking.
Stop you shaking. You've got to be calm.
As you come out into the
think I was
streets
drinking?
of the Droob, it stops raining, and the clouds begin to part.
Quick, hurry up. We need to get in there.
Yes, I
That was
think we
rather
should
sudden.
move.
There are
very
two
quickly.
beams of sunlight coming from the twin suns into this little space in the Droob, and a number of people pass by as look up. And there's the face of this old lady looks up, and you see the sort of beauty in the cracks of her face as she stares up into the sun.
Love it. Keep going.
Nobody cares.
Very.
I thought that was
give
poetic.
a shit.
I'm gonna write that in the notes. That's going in
We're
the
in a
reading.
hurry. We're trying to create stakes here.
I love this world that Russell's building. It's not just mud. Adric's not dragging his ass through the mud. Oh boy, I hope it still rains.
What was that? What was that? A sense of beauty in the cracks of her skin.
Why the hell am I working with these people? I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Adric is leading Adrian to the boat, and he's looking at the old lady.
G'day, will you keep an eye on these idiots?
All right, and you go running up the gangplank, I assume.
Yes, running.
All right. Perception checks.
Purposefully walking with determination, but not panic.
All right.
Perception checks.
Ah,
Oh, honey,
my.
another natural 20.
Ooh, you're the only one that passed that.
It's all about
Come
Adrian.
on. Oh no, that's good.
What
That's
did-
bad.
crap.
What did I
9,
just-
I didn't see
Oh,
anything. I am in a
guys.
hurry.
Guys, please.
Oh god.
Adele's still looking at the old lady. She got rolled an 8.
Okay.
Looking at the beauty in the cracks of her skin.
I'm trying to get them all on, and I'm losing complete perception.
Thankfully, my paranoia
9.
is kicked in, so.
A 9. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
also
well. Idrin, you seem to be the only one among everyone there, as you're taking your time and not just staring at your feet as you're running, or distracted by the cracks of the lady's face,
Or just distracted by the fact that we're running.
or just distracted by the fact that you're running. Idrin, you notice that there is a shadowy-looking figure on this far side of the river, looking in your direction. This person has two members of an entourage standing one off each shoulder, looking at you. And Idrin, you notice that they look up, and there is what appears to be a falcon circling above your ship.
I squeeze Adric's arm and say in Dwarvish, he's
Aye.
across the river. And then I turn to the others and say it in Elvish, he's across the river.
Ease across the river.
Vorbis.
Come on, let's get going.
We need to, yes, we need to,
You get onto the boat.
yes, we need to let go of Shank Painters. We need to move now.
You land on the
we
deck of
just
the
need
boat
to go.
now. It's very slippery, and there is a crew assembling, sort of getting stuff ready right now. There's a number of oarsmen who have sat down and prepared themselves to start paddling, rowing. Perhaps not paddling. Paddling is a little bit mediocre term for what they're about to do. And the
Little
boat,
paddle.
right, little paddle. The boat begins
A little dip.
a little dip. The boat begins to push off from the side of the river. What are you guys doing? You're just standing on it?
All right. How can I help to get this thing moving?
You probably want to row then, I think. That might be a good start, says Xandor. And that, by the way, is not Vorbis Dalrenar's. That's just one of his accomplices. That's what you might call some sort of spotter.
Do they know who we are?
They certainly know who we are. I'm sure of it. We just need to get out of here quickly. And if you don't mind, I'm going to cast some wind spells.
Do it.
Very good.
Yes.
Is that Falcon his?
I'd say so. Step aside. Goodale.
Is Rem still disguised?
Yes.
Yeah, so perhaps they don't recognize us?
Perhaps.
Adric goes below deck and helps starts rowing. Or he grabs one row in each arm. All right, then, let's go.
Yes, let's go.
All right.
Adele's grabbing an oar too.
I'll do what I can.
Now, was your sound just dipped, Steve? I don't know if it was my speaker, because I just touched my speaker, so I don't know if that was that, but say
Might
something.
have been my
for
mic. Is that better?
No.
No.
Can somebody else say something?
Hello, hello,
Hello.
No, you guys are all good. Steve, it's just you.
me.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, you're a bit better now.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Man, I hated every second of that.
I enjoyed all of it.
Okay, row like the
My
buggery.
beautiful
I'm gonna-
microphone technique.
All right.
I'm gonna go below deck and cast Mage Armor on myself because I don't think I've done that yet.
All right. Very
I'm
good.
going to do that.
All right. Well, below deck consists of the end of the boat, and there's a kind of a box-shaped space at one end of the boat that you can go inside, and Rem will take you guys in there, except for Adric, who's rowing now. Or rather, he points in there. So yeah, you find yourselves alone in that space. Meanwhile, the boys outside are rowing. And about 15 minutes pass. And also, Adric, you'll notice that the sails open up and fill with a massive gust of wind, and the ship really begins to pick up now.
You love to see it, folks. Beautiful.
All right. And finally, you find yourselves out of Vaingate and on the big wide river, having passed through the South Arch? Yeah, the South Arch through Fardal and
Fardal.
East Wall, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Looks like everything worked out in the end.
Hey, it's not
Why did you
finished
say
yet.
that?
Oh, we're not
I'm
done
touching
yet.
the boat. I'm touching every part of the boat.
Adric's holding wood. He's fine.
Where's the other one?
Let's get ourselves as far away as possible, and then we can relax.
The other boat was back there next to where this one was.
Okay, and it's still back there.
Yeah.
If we only get one boat, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It doesn't split us up. We're together, so if something happens, at least we're, able to deal with it together rather than having to leave some of us behind. Oh, I'm glad to be out of that city and back out in the open.
How far can your
open.
owl go?
What?
How far can your owl... How far can your owl go?
Yes,
Tup,
that's
my
not
little
quite what I
bat.
heard, but
Your
What,
little
my bat or Leith's owl?
leaf owl.
oh, my owl. To be able to see, only about 100. 100 it was 100 feet, wasn't it, Russell?
Can you
Yeah.
get it to send a message to somebody? Can you put a message on its leg and send that to a certain person?
Oh, yes. It would take a little time to train the bird as to who it would go to.
Can you get it to send a message to the Queen?
I'm not sure I want to make contact with the Queen.
I was thinking of saving our necks. I was thinking of giving her a message that the boat is there.
Is that something I would be able to do with the owl, Russell?
Yeah, it's potentially something you could do. It's probably something Adric out of game, Edrin has just received a paper bird, which would probably be more the tool for the job.
Adrian!
Barry, you
Yes?
don't know this though.
Okay.
You don't know what a paper bird does. So
All right.
Edrin may
But
or may
I'm
not.
still discussing the message, though.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure my owl would know who to go to.
Oh, God.
I could. I was given something. I mean, we would be using it almost immediately after getting it. But if you think it's going to save our necks, I think that's a very good idea. I think we should. I can write about 50 words, I think.
Okay.
So it needs to be brief.
Tell her that the ship is there, and it's full of gold, and exactly where it is. And it's open. There's no one protecting it, so she can take charge of it with her guards.
Open season, I suppose.
Yes, open season.
All right. It would have to be rather rudely brief, but if I can fit in the words to say that it has to be brief, I'm sure she'll have a hissy fit about it anyway, regardless. I write that up.
That should
Fold
keep
up
our
the
wizard
bird.
friend busy.
Yes, and I throw the bird, and it starts making its most direct route back to Queen Claresca.
All right. Very good. The bird flies off and catches the wind and sails up above the river and disappears from sight. You've never seen anyone throw a paper dart quite as far before, Adric?
What the hell? Why? How? Who? He's stopped rowing. He's standing up. He's looking at. Adrian, did you do that?
Yes, I did actually.
You're gonna have to show me how.
Oh, it's takes years of practice, you know.
Dwarves live a long time. I've got the time. You don't. You've got to teach me, and soon.
I'll
Excuse
put my
me. Very
hand
good.
on Edric's shoulder and just whisper into his ear, "It's magic."
Well, I don't see why I couldn't learn. Adrian learned.
I'll do my best to impart my knowledge onto you.
This is why
that's
I
all
love
I
you
ask.
guys.
All he asks.
Did any of you get a bottle of alcohol at all?
I actually still have the elven wine, I believe, Hazeldrill gave us.
Oh, good. Can I have some? Because I
There you
need it.
Sure. Goodale's rather maybe we should wait for Goodale to be feeling a bit better. I think she's having one of her moments. I feel bad for opening such a fine vintage without her.
Goodale's having a bit of a lie
That's
down.
right. We'll wait until she's
Till we're all out of danger. Adric gets back to rowing.
she's unconscious again.
Oh,
Let her rest. It's been a day.
Do you think we do it to her? She seems to go unconscious every time we get into trouble.
I don't think it's us. I think it's the trouble. We just happen to be there. It's causality, not the other thing.
Well, Xandor comes wandering back out again. He says, well, I hope that we've chosen the right direction because we're heading inland.
I'm sure it's fine. Probably.
Well, I don't know how deep the river is further upland, but when we get to hopefully we can get as far as Lockhart Lake, and that will save us, right? That was the plan. That's
We can use your little boat to check if it's wide enough for the boat to
Well,
ship to go up.
this boat seems adequate for now.
Adequate for
how
now.
long does your boat last, Leith? Is there a time limit to the boat?
I'm not too sure. I haven't used it yet.
Go and study,
Right, well,
lad, while you
while-
got the time.
Yeah.
While we're yes, I think I'll take a bit of a rest.
Leith looks at the box and then looks at the staff that he's got in his other hand and goes, "I think I've got quite a bit of study to do, don't I?"
Yes.
Yes, I pull out my book and I go, I think I'm gonna have a joy of this. I haven't read a decent book in months. I'm gonna go have a bit of a rest. Let me know when Goodale is feeling better. And we can start.
I'll
drinking.
just make her comfortable. I've got used to this, you know.
All right, so the boat rides onwards, and the day passes with you guys rowing and otherwise sailing inland. Is there anything else you want to do during the day? So I'm assuming, Steve, that Leith is going to study.
I'm going to attune to this staff
All right.
and study the properties of the folding boat as well, so I know what how it's going to be able to work when we need it.
Right. Dungeons and Dipshits is saying, "Sink the boat! Sink the boat!"
Fuck's sake, Russell.
Dirty old,
Zach.
dirty old Zach.
Okay.
I'd also
Dirty
like to do the same. I'd also like to do the same as Leith with my grimoire.
And I would like to do that with my equipment, please.
Very well. So you guys are studying your things, your newly acquired stuff.
Listen here, I hope you work, because you're a nice looking ring. If you don't do what you're supposed to, I'm in the crap, you know that.
Brixton, are you talking to yourself?
I think he's
I
talking
don't know.
to.
How do you tune to stuff? Because I'm not magic,
You
Just-
just
Mr.
sit with it.
Brixton, Mr. Brixton, just either put it on, or sit with it and just think about it while you rest. Is the best way to usually just make yourself one with the powers of what's in the thing.
Do you mean
I usually find.
You mean to tell me that these things don't talk back to me?
Not always.
No,
Not all of them.
Most of them don't.
Oh, okay.
My hammer talks to me.
Does it
Really?
Oh, really?
Well, sometimes.
just? It says, "Kill everything! Kill everything!"
You gentlemen wouldn't understand. It's a sweet voice. I couldn't tell you. It's just a private conversation. Kill them all. Aye.
Oh, can you shut up now so I can attune now? Right.
I can't imagine things talking to me.
Can't you?
Oh, I can. Trust
Adric.
me, I can.
Adric, you feel this hand on your shoulder. It's a very heavy hand. And you turn behind you, and there's this Goliath that's sitting behind you. He says, "You row more, talk less, ride fast.
All right. You're the Goliath.
Long stroke, dwarf. What is
Oh,
the
aye.
short stroke that you make?
Pardon, I have shorter arms than you.
Heave. Heave. Put your back into it, son."
Is
This
that
is
your
oddly
father?
familiar. No, I know I'm bigger than he is.
Why does your friends not row? They're
Ah,
too
they're not-
good for us.
No, they're not as strong as me. We're too good for them.
I am Gatorim.
Adric, lovely to meet you, Gatorum. So, you
Heave.
come here often?
You talking again?
No.
All right, so you keep rowing and you go about attuning. Eventually, Goodale wakes up.
Oh, good morning, princess. How you
Oh.
doing?
There we go. There we go. That's the wine open. Come on.
Right. You should have some of this, because I am.
Are
I
we
think it-
celebrating?
There is a small storehouse here of food. We do have some provisions downstairs in the below deck, but not many. I mean, it's got to be between all of us. I suppose it's not such a problem, seeing as we're not going to sea.
Who's cooking then?
Oh, these are preserved foods, Mr. Brixton. We're not cooking on this particular journey. It's too dangerous. We don't want to have any fires or anything on the boat.
Good point.
Unfortunately, it won't be the best food for this short trip, but nonetheless, it is just a short trip, so hopefully it won't be a big problem for us. Yes, well, it's beginning to get dark. I suppose those of you that needs to rest probably should go about it.
Oh, yes, please.
All right, so out of game. You row and you eat and you attune and such. You can consider your items attuned if you so desire.
Thank you.
Hooray!
Feel free to add them to your character sheets in D&D Beyond. Eventually, the boat, the river goes into a forest. And you go past a bunch of farmlands first, but eventually you go into a forest and it starts to get even darker and night falls. And you spend the whole evening, the whole night, rowing through the dark forest in the river. And it seems to be kind of a swampland for a certain amount of time, and eventually it narrows again. And who's sleeping? Who's napping? Who's sleeping? Who's resting?
I'm not resting.
Adrian is sleeping. All right.
Yeah,
I'll probably take a
sleeping
Everyone's
slash
gone quiet
eating.
again. What the hell?
Yeah,
That's
I'm.
Is that
I'll
my
take
a-
speakers or what?
Everything good, Jared Russell?
We
Hold
can
on a
hear
moment.
you.
I will check on my things.
Right. While he's checking, I'm going to vanish for a moment. BRB.
Okay. I think we might be taking a break.
Ooh.
Not a long break.
Would that be
There we
useful?
go.
While the characters take a long rest, or a long rest.
Solved.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it seems solved.
It was just merely a loose cable.
Ah, okay.
Okay, now what we gonna do?
Right, is Adric coming back? What happened there?
He's on a BRB.
BRB, very well. Okay, so, yeah, all right, let's have a short rest. Let's have a short break, seeing as we're at this point.
Okay.
Seems like a good point for it. Take 5, grab a coffee. We will be right back.
I've got to go do other things. I'll be back in a minute.
Go back on in. Here we are, back at the
The
Vaingate
manual in
Chronicles.
like Elvish and Dwarvish, but not common.
We're back live. All right. So, episode 14, part 2. And action. So, we're in a boat, motherfuckers. Adrian, where the hell did you go? You were there 2 seconds ago.
I am. Oh, my camera. I'm reloading.
Oh, your camera,
Recover it.
it froze
Recover.
while you were leaning out of shot.
Recover.
That's okay. It's always going to be one of us that has a camera issue, so hey, can't be helped. All right. Eventually, you pass through the night, and at some point, Adrian, you're actually asleep. Adric, is there any chance that you're going to be asleep at the same time?
I've probably gone to bed at about the same time as Adrian, yeah.
Adric and Leith, your characters cameras just switched places on my Streamlabs.
I'm Leith now, and I'm going to start shooting Eldritch Blast at fish.
Oh well, yes. I
A bit lower.
Are you really?
All right. I
idea?
fixed your cameras now. You can have your identities back.
I got a little bit of Sean Connery in there, Steve. That's not bad.
Well done.
Right.
I thought you were playing him as Zardoz era Connery.
That's a terrible character.
It started that way, but then it became a bit clearer.
Even with the little jockstrap.
Yep.
It's canon now. Adric does in fact wear a jockstrap.
It's canon.
It's a chainmail jockstrap. It's incredibly uncomfortable.
And he wears it on his chin. I didn't think that was going to be as funny as it was.
He wears it when he goes to sleep to keep his beard together.
Welcome,
he
Wolf
the point
Spain
entirely.
4. Thank you for following. We love you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
Let's get serious, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The boat hits a bump.
Wait.
And you
the hell?
feel it slow down very dramatically, very quickly, and come to a halt. And you hear a lot of cracking of wood. And various oars. Adric, are you still rowing, or are you having a rest at this point?
I was resting at this point.
Okay, never mind then.
We're still on the river at this stage, aren't we?
What?
Not
Yeah.
anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes,
Oh,
essentially you
what the
are on
hell?
the river, yes.
Yeah.
In the forest, on the river at night time. And for those of you that are new to Sidariel, we have 7 moons that sort of float around the horizon most of the time, and those moons are made up of huge chunks of giant architecture from the original moon temple of the goddess of the moon some 30,000 years ago, and they're just sort of floating there, these chunks of architecture, casting their reflected light through the trees. There is also 2 suns, both of which are currently below the horizon right now. Thus it is dark, but yet light, with the 7 moons. So, how's that? All right, you get the
It's
picture.
a dark hill.
You get the picture. It's fairly dark, but there's still light. All right, fairly dark.
I guess we better go and have a look what the problem is.
What
From the obvious.
was the Goliath's name again?
Gartorum.
Gartorum, what the hell happened?
What? Grounded.
Apparently-
Sandbars.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't intentional.
No.
All right,
Come.
all right, no.
You help
All right, I'm
us
coming.
move ship. Get
Adric
the
climbs out
ropes.
with him.
Quickly.
All right. Adric grabs a couple ropes. All right, let's go,
Everyone.
big boy.
You,
all of you.
cleric. You think because you girl, you not haul ship?
I'm hauling.
Sorry. I had to.
Beautiful.
You know, Goliaths. You never know how they're going to be. So okay, so you
so much.
basically you're all sort of
I'm
led
not
off
sure
the boat.
you knew how he was going to be, Russell.
I wasn't actually. Well, to be fair, I didn't
Right.
even know you were going to get on a boat until like literally you got on a boat. So at that
Oh.
point, you know.
Okay, I will help pull as well.
All right. Well, long story short, you have to drag the boat using ropes, getting wet up to your waist in the water, in the mud, dragging the boat back out of off the sandbar, basically.
Oh,
Xandor casts some spells to
Who had
assist.
this brilliant bloody idea?
Do any of you have any useful? In fact, in character, Xandor says to you, do any of you have any spells that can assist with this?
Well,
lift a whole boat.
Well, perhaps
moment.
something like, I don't know, like a water elemental or wind or something like that. No, nothing like that.
Adric's going to imbibe one of his potions of enlargement.
Let me just take a look.
See, that seems like a good idea. He says as Adric goes.
You know this. I don't like how this artificial one feels. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not like the natural high, is it? The natural height.
No, that's not. It leaves
Synthetic.
a funny aftertaste. The synthetics
Would you
is so
just
weird.
get on with it so we can get out of this mud?
All right. Well,
I
long
wouldn't
story
expect you to
short.
understand.
Long story short, you eventually drag the boat back off the sandbar, and you manage to get back going again. But you're all pretty wet and cold and miserable by then.
I don't know. Did someone wake me up?
Yes, they did, Edrin. They did wake
Okay,
you up.
good.
You,
Okay.
you also.
Because I'm making sure because the sandbar wouldn't have woken me up.
Well, Edrin, you now have sandbar in your toes, between your toes, and in your undies, and in your shirt and your undershirts, and possibly even in your
Sweet.
teeth.
Sandbar.
I don't know. Do they even have sandbars in rivers? They do now.
It's a sandy
Yeah,
river.
they do. I can confirm because I've been grounded on a sandbar.
Really?
I was kayaking down a river and there was just a sandbar after sandbar.
Oh no! Damn.
I kept getting grounded.
So you have experience with this? Wow.
Yeah.
And he went to sleep and he's the only one experienced it.
All right. Long story short, you eventually break out into the Lockhart Lake, in the Lockhart Valley, and you can look up ahead of you, and you can see far to your right is this huge, giant, massive world tree growing up out of the forest, far above the treetops of all the other trees, looking down around you. And those of you that are familiar with this area, who include Goodale and Leith, recognize that tree is the Etz tree, the mother tree of Etz. Further up, not too far from that tree and the township of Etz, there's a small island next to that township, with the Lockhart Keep castle on it, which you can also see in silhouette as the first sun, Solemn Pingal, begins rising over the horizon, casting its light down across the valley from the mountains far in the distance. And you can see this castle, this keep, sitting on this island. It has a small town next to it, and then there's a bridge that goes across to Etz itself, and then there's that huge tree that I was talking about. And so this is as close to Etz as you've been for a long time, Leith. You've been to Etz before. In fact, this is basically, it wasn't far out of Etz that you first made your very first journey to the island that you are currently looking for. Yeah?
Yep. Do I know that we're going to be able to get to Etz, like get to the lake?
You're in the
Sailing-
lake. This is
sailing-
the lake.
Oh, we've
You
arrived
better
at the
make
lake.
that
This
phone
is
call,
the
lad.
lake. You have just
You
broken
better-
into the lake now.
Oh,
You
that
better
was
make
fast.
that call.
Was it?
That was fast.
Okay.
You just make that call now.
It's obviously not that far. Whoops.
It looked far on the map.
Yeah, I'll get the stone out and send with it.
Okay. It doesn't do anything. You're not. It's not for you. It's for them.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it just basically sends a message without you needing to do anything except have it in your possession as you come into the radius of the lake.
Can I see the island?
Not at this point. The center of the lake is just misty. But what you can see is a number of elven fishermen and women sailing out onto the lake this time in the morning, getting ready to go fishing.
I'll instruct whoever's in charge of the boat if they can, to sail us as close to the center of the lake as they can.
Xandor is the person that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So, you want us to take the boat to the center of the lake?
Yes, please. You'll see when we get there well, do you know about the island?
Which island are we talking about, Mr. Lath? I'm not familiar with this. I only know that this is what your plan was, and
Well,
everybody seemed to trust you. So, and I didn't have a lot of options at that point. So,
Well,
here we are.
you will see. So, if you would please instruct the men to take us to the center of the lake.
Just keep it going. He knows what he's doing.
All right. Very well, and he does. He instructs the sailors and the rowers to continue, and then the drums per se stop, and the boat just drifts towards the center of the lake into the mists now, and there's just dead silence as the boat drifts into the mist. And after a couple of moments, you're surrounded by white mist in all directions, and you can see literally nothing beyond the edge of the boat for a good 10-15 feet. And then slowly...
Edrin starts shaking.
Edrin's shaking?
Like more than before.
You're right there, Edrin.
No, but if Leith says that there's something in the middle of this lake, then I'm willing to trust him.
Please do. I appreciate your trust, Mr. Idrin.
There's something in the middle, all right.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I know there is.
Well, when you say it like that, it makes it sound more sinister.
Have you been here before, Mr.
I was
Brixton?
here with you, you idiot. No. I was here with you, remember? Remember? Do you remember?
Were you,
Yes, I was.
Russell?
Not important right now.
Okay.
I was.
Let's not mix up stories and games,
Oh, okay.
just in case. We haven't clarified those details, so until we have, let's not worry about it.
I think I might need a I don't know, a drink or I need something I need a thing. I need a thing. That is what I need right now. I need a thing. Give me a
Is it one of these that you
can I
need,
just-
Mr. Montcoff? Is it a drink? Would you like? I've got a small flask here.
But he just goes back down into where he was sleeping the night before.
All right. Funny fellow, that one, isn't he?
You know, he's bottled a lot of stuff up, and he's not quite ready to share.
The mists begin to clear in the direction that you're going, and you think you can see some sort of landfall in the distance. And you see a few boats dragged up on the sand on the what must be an island somewhere in the center of the Lockhart Lake. And you think you can see a few tents up on an encampment up on a hill, and you see the glint of some metal and movement happening.
Sail for there, Mr. Ram. Yeah, that's where we need to be.
Are they prepared for our disembarkment, Mr. Lath?
They'll know that we're here at the very least.
All right. I see there's people lining up on the shore. They look like soldiers. They've got spears or something.
Do I recognize them?
Yeah. Yeah, you know who they are.
Are they servants of the Fox? Or...
They could hardly be anybody else.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sail on, please.
All right, and so the boat arrives at the shore and comes up on the sand and kind of beaches itself there. And you find yourselves like on surrounding the end of the boat that's beached up on the shore, there is this large phalanx of soldiers wearing very splendid costumes and helmets with plumes, spears, and shields. They're all high elves, from what you can tell. Well, it looks like we've found our friends then, Mr. Mistralath. Will you be speaking for us now that we're here, or how will this work?
Yes, I will present us to. You're about to meet Imril Maith Lazadril.
Oh, really? Imril Maith
Yes.
Lazadril has not. That name seems very familiar, and is it not because he is from our history books, Mr. Mistralath?
Yes. It has been assumed that he's been dead for many decades, but
Decades.
this is where he currently resides.
I was under the distinct impression he's been dead for about 500 years, if not longer.
Well,
I mean, he wrote many of our history books himself.
yes. I guess I was just trying to be polite about it, but centuries is a better way to look at it. Yes.
I'm very well. Yes, goodness. I suppose we shall disembark then.
And I'll lead the way.
All right, so the gangplanks come down, and so everybody starts to make their way down onto the shore. And the phalanx of guards surrounds you all. And there's one that comes forward, and she takes off her helmet, and she looks like a half-orc. Leith, you recognize her as Thorn Garkai.
I will. I'll bow deeply to her.
Dale's in shock.
And I'll do I'll do as best I can what was the movement, the heart, the heart, the head.
Head, the heart, the mouth.
The heart, the mouth, and up.
The sky, yeah. Very good. Thorn nods back in response. She doesn't even try. She's a half orc. She's she's got her own thing going.
I like this one.
Welcome back, Mr. Mistralath.
Thank you. Miss
Are you ready to be received with your friends?
We are.
Good. We have been brewing and cooking for you for a great feast. A day now we've been preparing. And
I
somewhere
am.
on the wind you can smell the smell of a feast in the distance.
I am quite keen to meet with Maith, if that would be convenient for him.
He says he will return this evening.
Very good. We will go and partake. Will you be able to keep our ship safe?
You joke with me, Mr. Lath. She slaps you on the back, almost knocks you to the sand.
Yeah.
You must be. She looks at each of you.
These are my friends. Milford Brixton.
You seem familiar.
Adric Fogdar. Mr. Edrin Montcoff, and Goodale. I've forgotten your last name.
Talandaran.
Goodale Talandaran of the Daughters of Twilight.
Greetings. May you all come and feast with us. I will introduce you to our master.
We very much appreciate the hospitality.
Very well. She leads you up the beach towards the tents. And there are more soldiers standing around among the tents, and there's people cooking and doing stuff, and you see there's various beasts of burden that exist here as well. There's a small attempt at a couple of palisades that are sort of half-built and what have you. Some people are washing and cleaning over on one side, people are cooking over another side. There's various activities going on. And you're ushered into a tent. And around, you notice that there's one very splendid looking tent and a couple of Also splendid, but not quite as big tents. All within a vicinity of each other, within a few, I don't know, 50 feet of each other, I suppose, in this clearing on this island. My lord will speak with you, I believe, in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, and we'll go in.
All right.
Well, I'll go in.
Yes, go, all of you. Take your refreshments now.
Yes, I'll rush in.
Follows.
Russian. All right. Okay, so you go inside the main camp tent, and there's food and drink laid out, and you guys, I assume, partake of some of it. You know.
I don't touch a thing.
You don't touch a
Adric
thing.
I don't touch
tucks
a
in.
thing.
I'll go to Adrian and say, Mr. Adrian, sir, you seem very on edge. Is there anything I can do to put your mind at ease?
I'm a bit nauseous actually right now. I think I'll just I would suggest getting some fresh air, but I don't think that'll do me any good. I'm just gonna sit down and close my eyes for a little bit. A little bit of a I think I might just sit down and you can go about having fun being back home. Is this home for you? Is this your home?
This is not actually my home, but my home is not too far away.
Oh.
This is a safe haven.
Well, I'm
for all of
glad
us.
you have one. So I'm
for all of us.
Sure. I will I'll just have a seat and you.
There are some long benches
nice
and tables in this.
Yes, or I might just lie down on one of those. I'll lie down on one of these.
I take it you're not much of a sailor, Mr. Adrian.
I can deal with rivers, anything bigger, and it's I mean I grew up on an island, but it was a rather big island, so you didn't necessarily see the shore a lot. But this it's a small island out here, so I can kind of see all of the. Yeah, I'm just going to have a lie down and maybe do studying with it. Keep it off my mind.
A very good idea.
If I study will make every yes. I'll sit down with my grimoire and just start reading.
All right.
Okay, I'll leave you to it.
He'll leave you to it. All right. Very
Leith, well. Your friend who greeted us, she said they'd been preparing this for a day. How were they aware of our coming?
The stone that I showed you told them that we were up on the approach.
It works from that far. Right. All right.
Well, yes, I guess it must.
So this elf comes in wearing sort of I guess they're noble clothes, the clothes of a noble you would expect, but he's not dressed up like a noble dressed down. How does that sound? Does that sort of, yeah, you get the gist? Lots of brown tan colors and what have you, and oddly enough, his hair is a bit messy presently, and he nods as he comes in. He looks at you each, and he takes off his gloves. Greetings all. You can call me Bran.
Bran.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Bran.
You may call me Goodale.
Why, thank you.
And myself,
my lady.
Adric.
Greetings, Adric.
I am Leith, Mr. Leth. How do you do, Bran?
I'm well, thank you. I am a member of the Servants of the Fox, whom no doubt you have heard of by now, as you've been received here on this island, which we call, well, our name for it is the Island of Shadows, and there are reasons for that. This island has not been seen by outsiders for centuries because of the magic that has been cast upon it, its ability to obfuscate from the eyes of the profane are powerful and unexpected. I am just one of the many members of the Order of the Fox, the Servants of the Fox. We're not an order. We're all volunteers here. We serve a fellow and his sister, who are of the Erathani line, who some of you may have heard of or not, I'm not sure. In any case, the Erathani are the bloodline recently deceased, recently to have held the position of High King in Sidare El Tularathion, the elven realms of this world. High King Durian Erathani. We lost him some 100 years ago, and he was replaced by his brother, his half-brother Ivran, who no doubt you have heard of. Is this all familiar to each of you, or am I telling you new information here?
Somewhat mostly.
I know it well.
It's familiar.
I see. Well, I am merely a scout and low-level assistant of this Order of the Fox, servants of the Fox, I should say. And as I say, my name is Bran. Soon you will be to meet Lord Bragan. His full name is Galandel Bragan Erathani, and he is, in our view, the best candidate for High King that we have, to replace King Ivran, the Pretender, the Usurper, when we finally destroy him and his reign. For now, we hide here on this island, and we gain momentum and power and allies, and we wait. And
it is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Bran.
thank you. Yourself too, Mr. Lath. I'm afraid I should have liked more that you could have spoken with our Lord Maith earlier, but he is unfortunately engaged for a few hours at least.
Oh, I do look forward to meeting him again, but we will await that very soon.
Yes. Now, is there anything that you need urgently? Any of you? Is your friend is he asleep? The one on the bench?
Oh,
He's just
No, I'm. Hello.
he's just recovering from the sailing. He doesn't travel very well.
I see. Well, there's not much else I can tell you for now, but there is a tent.
I'll
the
actually
way.
take Bran aside and say, actually, is there anything you could do for him? He seems to be a bit afraid of water, and there is rather a lot around us.
Afraid of water?
Yes.
It's not really my purview.
Oh.
You should perhaps ask your cleric friend.
Oh. Yes. Good idea. Goodale, do you think there's anything that you might be able to do for Mr. Edrin?
I did wonder if some healing would help him, but I'm not entirely sure if it's something of the mind. I'm not sure if my spells will work, but I could try.
Well, yes. Let me see if I have something as well. He just seems to be very out of sorts around here.
Edrin, might I offer you a prayer of healing?
Oh, if you think it would, if you think it would work, I'm not hurt physically. Yeah, I'm just a little distressed is a word I suppose I'd use. If you've got any, if you think it would help that, then I'm more than happy to go for it. But otherwise, yes, I'm not really sure.
Well, healing is healing. The spirit often needs healing as well, so let's give it a try.
You hear a bit of a kerfuffle outside. Soldiers, boots, metal shaking, noises,
Oh, that's
orders
not
being
helping.
barked.
That's always good news.
Suddenly, you hear the sound of horses. Someone getting off a horse outside, and then the curtains open, as it were, the entrance to the tent, and this elven noble fellow comes in. He's got short black hair, with a fringe, like I guess like bangs, I guess you would call it, although he doesn't have long hair. He looks almost a bit emo, to be honest. And he's got large 80s shoulder pads. You know, from a time when the bigger your shoulders, the more powerful you were. Kind of like World of Warcraft, actually. And he's wearing essentially full plate armor, and any of you that recognize it will recognize that it's very flash and very noble and very expensive. And you can each make a history check, please.
Do I recognize this person?
Oh, you
straight
do.
off?
You do. Straight off. This is... You certainly do.
Oh my gosh! Another natural 20 for a total of 26.
Wow,
Ah,
Adrian.
much
day.
better than me.
What did you get, Goodale?
I got an 8. Total of 8.
Yeah, so did I.
18.
Hey, dirty 20.
18.
18, all right. Okay, so Barry, Adric, Edrin, Leith, you guys all recognize the future king of Sidariel. Bragan, Galandal Bragan Erathanai. You know this because of the colours that he's wearing. My brain today is just not playing nicely.
My mind is just a piece
His
of shit this morning.
regalia, his standards, his etc. Right? Blah, all the words, they come out, and I say them. Right?
They're all magnificent.
I'm going to describe myself DMing properly. See if that works. All right. In any case, this is Bragan, and Goodale, for some reason, you tell me why it is that you're not really paying attention.
I think Goodale's distracted by Edrin and wondering how she can help him. And she belatedly looks and sees everyone giving due respect to this man and quickly bows or follows suit with the rest of them.
Okay. Okay. So while you're bowing and what have you, you're not really sure who it is you're bowing to, but you sort of notice this figure here, who's obviously a noble and a high elf, and may have something to do with what was going on earlier, but you're not sure who it is. Okay. And Edrin clearly is a bit off colour. In any case, this fellow comes in and he says, "Greetings, lords and ladies. I am Bragan Erathanai, and you have arrived safely. You are now in my care. You have found sanctuary here on the Isle of Shadows. Is there anything that you need while that you are here in under our dominion, again, what's the word? Hospitality.
Merely safe refuge here while we try to figure out where we need to go, where we need to go next. If that is convenient for you."
Well, convenient. I'm not sure anything of this nature is particularly convenient. You've brought a great dastardly ship all the way up the river, from what I've been told, and taken it from Vaingate, and there's all sorts of a kerfuffle going on.
And we are perfectly willing to pay our way if needs be. But I thought this the best place for us to come to rest, to recompose ourselves, and to possibly shield ourselves from any antagonism that may be coming towards us.
How are our interests in Vaingate being served, incidentally, Mr. Leith, Mr. Lath?
In what regard?
In what regard?
I do not know that anybody in Vaingate knows of your presence.
Well, that is certainly important. But how are our interests being served? That is to say, we are seeking allies and power so that we may retake the throne. Yes? This is what you have taken an oath to do as a member of our, as
Yes,
a volunteer, certainly coming here among the order of the servants of the Fox on the Isle of Shadows, taking refuge among us.
I was given assurances by Maith that we would be welcome here if
Oh.
ever we needed.
Of course you are welcome here, and that is why I ask how our best interests are being served in Vaingate.
Well, the best I can say is that there is no ill will towards you from those that live in Vaingate at this stage.
I see. Out of game, my Zoom's just crashed. Yippee-ki-yay.
Yay.
Sir.
I'm having a
Again.
really awesome night today.
Huzzah.
It's funny actually, when my tech goes wrong, my DMing is really half-assed.
Still
I'm
out
gonna-
of game. I'm sort of not quite flowing with what he's asking.
Well,
Can I
he's
Roll a
pushing. He's
perception check or an insight check or something.
You can make an insight check, yeah,
Yep,
if you like.
I think I know what it means.
16.
16. You get the impression that, well, first of all, you know that Bragan is fairly youngish. I mean, he's an elf, but he's not an old elf. And you kind of have the impression that he's almost pushing buttons to see how much respect and control and how much power he has. Certainly, he spends a lot of time on this island, and he's probably really fucking bored. And so he's kind of interested to know how other people are reacting and how the rest of the world is reacting to his situation right now. And you have the impression that, let's face it, you've just brought a whole bunch of strangers to this island that he doesn't actually know, and we're assuming that we can trust them. And, you've kind of done that, and he wants to know what you've done to earn that right.
Yep. Okay. So it's a bit of an ego trip then.
Well, it's a bit of an ego trip, but it's also, I mean, he is the freaking king, and you've just brought a bunch of strangers to his
Correction,
island.
He's not a king yet.
Well, he's definitely the king of this island, let's put it that way.
Yeah, of a little island.
Yeah, a little island that is impenetrable.
But
How
ri-
does
but rightful
Brixton
king.
feel about all this?
Now, wait a minute. He's bought you a lot of things. He's bought you finances for your army. He's bought you...
He turns upon you, Mr. Brixton. Has he? Oh, you
Yes.
didn't say that, Mr. Lath. Perhaps you should have mentioned that first. When I asked you what has happened in regards to furthering our best interests, that might have been the first thing off your tongue.
I was getting to that.
Ah.
I did. I thought it prudent to be. Well, I thought it best to be prudent about such matters until
see.
we were sure that we were in, good company. I was waiting for Maith to make an appearance before we talked about that.
Maith, Mr. Leith, Mr. Lath, is my advisor, my servant, if you will. And if you do not consider me to be the highest form of company here, well, you're mistaken. But I forgive you. You are new to this locale.
I understand that.
And, Your Majesty, can I put it to you this way? This man has risked his life to bring you what he's brought you. And even though you are the future king, you have yet to prove that you're worthy of such a thing.
Be very careful what comes next from your tongue, Mr. Brixton.
Don't forget, distant cousin of mine. I'm telling you now, This man has risked his life for you. That deserves respect alone, cousin. And
Distant,
he brings
distant
out his
cousin.
papers
All
and
right.
presents them to him and goes on one knee.
Takes your papers. Cousin, you say?
Yes, there are reasons that I will never have the throne.
Well,
And you'll see what those reasons are.
I think the reasons are painfully obvious, Mr. Brixton.
What? What do you think they are, young king?
You're treading a very fine line here.
I know that. But I
Why?
want
Why
to
must
see-
you do this?
That's what you did to this man. You did the same thing to him. This man who risked his life for you.
What to
This
do with
very
you?
brave young man. Is this how you treat your servants?
Would you like to leave? Do you not like it here?
I would like to leave.
Well, please, take your leave.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Brixton.
As you wish, my king.
You come here and insult me on my own land after being invited
You
here.
insult yourself.
You
young
are
king.
exploiting my power presently. Who
Your
do you
power.
think you are?
Don't you know what I'm trying to show you?
What you need to do is show respect. All you have
I'll
to do
show
is
respect to
very
someone
simple.
who deserves it.
We shall see what May has to say. when we
Milford,
get-
please. This is not the time or the place to be causing a scene.
We're all gonna, if we join this man, we're all gonna die for him in some way. We're all gonna give our lives to him.
Well, you probably should have had this discussion before.
Would you
came
rather
here.
that or Vorbis?
I'd rather see someone who gives me the same respect that I would give him. You don't die for somebody who just thinks
I've
you
had
should.
enough of this. You need
No,
to leave now.
no, Milford. That is the way that the world works. Unfortunately, smaller
Then,
people, smaller than those in charge, do give their lives for others. There are people in this world that are selfless.
See how faithful he is to you. Do you see that? Do you see how faithful he is to you? You're an important man.
Bragan's left now.
Milford,
So-
you have ruined our chances.
Not yours. Do you all know this man? Just because you have royal blood doesn't mean you're entitled.
No, not at all.
So
I do
he
not
should-
have royal blood. I am merely trusting that this place will be something that will be a true repose for us. That we will be able to find refuge here.
Don't you have to trust the man as well? Does a man have to belittle you to prove himself?
No, but it is not Bragan that my faith lies in. It is Imril Maith Elazadril.
Then I hope for your sake that you're choosing the right man.
I believe I am, and I would stake my life on his assistance.
Okay. I'll be leaving.
If you're
But it's
talking,
been-
Joanna, you're on, I think you might be on mute. I'm not sure.
Yes, sorry about that. It is the prerogative of royalty to speak in whichever manner they wish.
Doesn't make it right though.
But
Agreed.
For what it's worth, Brixton, I'm on your side.
Second.
If everyone who feels so high and mighty, be they god, king, or mob boss, continues to tread on those beneath them, while they're standing on a pile of corpses, tiny, helpless corpses. So, Brixton, I'd sooner stake my claim with you than this gentleman who has decided to visit us.
Second.
It's true, but we are visiting him and we are in dire need of his assistance.
It's true. But, you know, he's gonna, if he becomes king, he's gonna be your king forever. For all of you.
Oh, there have been forever kings before.
Yes, but a king is only as powerful as his subjects.
That's
And-
the point I'm trying to make. A king is only as powerful as his subjects. He can be as dead tomorrow as anybody else. But he needs to know.
You need to understand, Milford, that there are powers greater at work here. It's not as black and white as it seems.
Yes, but he doesn't have to belittle you to do it. You are my friend.
I am
I'll
willing.
not see anybody treat my friend badly.
Well, I thank you for that honor, Milford. But I am willing to try to go beyond Bragan and his
Understand me.
braggadocio.
Understand me. I'm hoping like hell that this guy is the right one.
And please trust me when I say that Maith will be the one that will be able to assist us properly. I have faith in that.
Then I leave it in your hand, my trusted friend. I leave it in your hands. And if I've caused any trouble, just tell him to look to me. Because basically, I'm the one that wants to bring up these points. But you see, I've seen people die because they followed somebody. And it sticks in your memory. I
Well,
don't want to see it again.
I don't know what to tell you, Milford. I feel that this is the right thing to do. And I do thank you for trusting me. If you
I
want,
do, my friend, and I
if you
say
do
that.
want to cut loose from this, then please tell me now, because this is the only safety I know.
Well, I've come to one realization. I've got no way off this bloody island.
You could swim. It's
Oh,
You could rent a boat.
it's not too far to it.
hey, can I borrow your boat?
I'm not quite sure how that works as yet.
Oh, okay. I'll think of a way. If he doesn't have me hung by then. And he goes outside.
So as you're going outside, you can hear heated voices in the distance. And you can hear something like a... You can make a perception check.
Okay. Hang on. I am having what they call... here we are. There you are. Oh, that's it. Cool. 13.
13. Sounds like metal on wood.
Metal on wood? I'm going to go and have a nosy.
Okay, so as you go around the tent, you notice there's a lot of guards watching you quite carefully. And as you step around, you see there's like a training yard and some wooden dummies set up. And
Yeah.
Bragan is practicing against one of the dummies with his sword.
Okay.
Two of the guards step out and cut you off so that you can't go any further.
Okay, I just watch from where I am.
One of them points back to the tent that you came from. His Majesty does not wish to be disturbed.
Fine. Go back. Not to the tent, to some place that's near the tent.
Okay.
I'll turn to Edric and say, Mr. Edric, how are you feeling about all of this?
About what specifically, lad?
Well, I know that I have dragged you all here on the promise of refuge and assistance.
Edric takes his hand. You've not dragged us anywhere. You've brought us safety, and you've kept us out of harm's way for the moment from people who would wish to turn us all inside out. There is no need to sound so apologetic.
I'm just a little concerned for all of your well-beings.
Did you know that Bregan was here, Leith?
Yes, I did, but I was hoping that we would meet with Maith at the outset to be able to assist us properly.
I'm ever so slightly concerned that my connections to the family that I'm connected to may cause some alarm.
No one has to know. Just close to your chest, you're just a humble cleric of the sisters. That's it. The daughters, pardon. That's it. That's all it has to be.
Indeed.
Leith, not to sound ungrateful or rude. Any idea how long we'll be staying here?
Well, I hadn't thought that far ahead. All we needed was somewhere to hide the treasure, and someone friendly to us. And this was the first place I could think of.
Very
And
good.
also
I think you made a great choice.
It was a damn good choice considering
thank
everything
you.
else we had.
Yes, it was a very good choice. In fact, I much better than going seabound. So
I'm very pleased to hear that you think that.
well, yes. I mean, objectively, a lake is much better than. I'm going to have a glass of water. If anyone else would like one, I think I'll have a little drink.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Me as well.
Probably some refreshment would be good for us all.
I'll go for a quick nosy around, and Adric's going to quick jaunt. He's going to see if he can find Brixton. Just wants to check in on him.
Well, but just before you do that, Mr. Brixton,
Yes.
you're outside, and you're standing, or you sit down on a log or something like that.
I sit on a rock, you know.
A rock,
and-
okay. Well, you notice, of course, the minute I start trying to roleplay, my camera dies. God, that's pissing me off. I have
And
to
it
say
has. Oh, wow.
every single
Oh,
time.
gosh,
It's like,
Ugh.
it's like it knows.
it knows. It's like it
Yeah.
detects movement or something, and it's like, oh, he's talking. I'm gonna fuck with him.
I'm going to cast Detect Movement on it.
Yeah. I cast detect bullshit.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
We all know you meant it.
Here we go. Okay, so Mr. Brixton, you're sitting on the stone, and across from you, you notice that fellow that you saw earlier, Bran, comes out of a different tent. He sort of steps out, and he walks over in your direction, and he sort of stops and stands not too far away from you. And then he sort of sighs, and he sits down on the step on one of the stones nearby you. He doesn't say anything. He just sits there for a long moment. And looks sideways over at you. You seem a little disturbed, my friend.
I am.
Would you like to talk to me about it?
I don't know yet.
Well, let me say this much, It's Brixton, is it not? Let me say this much. You've come to the Island of Shadows, and here resides the Servants of the Fox. And as I said earlier, everyone here is a volunteer, which you know by now is the case.
Yes.
If you were to leave this place, there's very few circumstances in which that would be a favorable option. One of those circumstances might be that our advisor, Imral Maith Elassadril, whom your friend Leith Mistrelath spoke of earlier, may go to the trouble of removing your memories of this place, if he is feeling so inclined. And then you would never have remembered having ever been here before.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
Uh-huh.
So if that makes you feel any more secure, then if you were against the idea of becoming a volunteer here, but I'm going to suggest to you that you might not immediately like our Lord Bragan offhand, but he is young and he is new to this, and he is our greatest hope of having someone in the position that we need to be able to take back our world, our country, our nation, our people. He is the greatest political tool that we have available to us. It's not about whether or not you like him, Mr. Brixton.
Can I be honest with you then?
Well, I should hope that you would.
Are you manipulating him?
Am I manipulating him?
Yes.
I'm in no position to manipulate our Lord Bragan Erathane. That is preposterous.
Nothing's preposterous.
Well, the longer that you stay here, the more you will see that I am one of the various members of this outfit that does much of the manual labor. So if I was to be manipulating him, I would be very clever indeed, but also very stupid. Simultaneously, miraculously. How does that work? I'm not sure.
Why do you believe in this man?
I explained this to you. He is the son of the greatest King Durian.
That doesn't make him a good leader.
He needs to learn to be a good leader, Mr. Brixton. I understand that you are a half-elf, yes, and that you understand your mortality in the terms of decades.
Yes.
He will live for hundreds of years. He will learn and grow over centuries. His transformation is just beginning. He is only becoming himself. Who he is today is not who he will be in 100 years. And if he has the right people around him, which I hope he will, because people like you and me and your friends will help him to learn and guide him. Because if you don't stay, he will not have your service, and he will not have your influence, and he will not learn from you. And if you do not show him the respect that he is due by birth, which he believes he is, and so do all the high elves here, he is of the lineage of the Saldarine. He does come from the line of the primal elves. You can spit in the face of that because your blood is mixed with humans. If you wish to stand upon ceremony, that is your prerogative. But I think it is perhaps just sour grapes.
What, that I can't be king?
Well, consider it. Perhaps this is the reason that you have this need to
I
belittle him.
don't want to be king.
Well, very good.
I don't want to be king, but I want to make sure that the man who rules my life, who guides me through it, who looks after me,
Mr. Brixton, how
can
many
do
people
exactly
do you
that.
think, how many people in the world have the option to choose who is going to be their king? Not many.
But so many kings have been called the good king and not been the good king.
You will remember, or perhaps you will not remember, but King Durian was indeed our good king.
I know. But I'm asking you why you believe in him. Why you believe in him.
I believe in him because Maith believes in him. And Maith, you have not yet met him, but you should know that Lord Maith is a very wise and noble individual indeed. If Lord Maith believes in him, then there must be reasons.
This Maith, you hold him in high regard, do you?
Of course. And I'll tell you one very simple reason why. This island has not been discovered, and that is his doing.
And you really think this boy could be the best thing for us?
Adric, you come wandering out of the tent at this point.
Starts waddling in their general direction.
So you see this conversation unfolding.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way this lad is going to hire me now.
No,
Well, I would say that he's probably quite angry with you, Mr. Brixton. That's true. But don't you think that if he was to turn and ask you again, there might be some hope for him?
If
If
you
you-
all believe in this boy so much, and if he did ask me again, even after all this, then I have to say I would believe in him a lot more, because he's shown something of his courage.
Right. And
Yes,
if he
I
turns
would
you
believe
away,
in
he
that.
turns you away. But if he accepts you now, then you perhaps are in a position where you do perhaps need to listen to him.
After all, I'm only a rogue.
So am I, Mr. Brixton. We have that in
You're all-
common.
You're also a bastard.
Oh yes, my friend, I'm a bastard, all right.
Ah, Mr. Adric.
In more ways than you know.
Comes up and puts an arm around Brixton's shoulders and gives him a squeeze. But you're a good man.
He's not upset now because I think he's faced this thing and dealt with it. And this man that's spoken to him has answered some of his questions. You know, he doesn't want to see death and destruction again like he saw it when he was young. Yeah. So yeah, he's thinking now. He's thinking a bit more on it.
Are you well, Mr. Adric?
I'm well enough.
Sorry,
Well
Mr.
enough.
Fogdar. My apologies.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And he does a little mock bow. You cordially have my permission to call me Adric. That's how we do things. Do things in these court scenarios, eh?
Yes, well, I'm not honestly that comfortable with these court scenarios myself.
Oh, thank God. That's even better. Just call me Adric. Much easier.
I prefer the alleys of Highbrook.
I thought you look like the type that would prefer an alley.
I'm not sure how to take that, Mr. Fogdar.
Neither am I.
Oh, you look like you'd better suit a gutter.
Oh yes.
So, Goodale, what are you up to at the moment?
I think I'm still, Goodale's still in the tent.
Okay. So, Goodale, Leith, and Edrin are still in the tent.
Yeah, Leith is going to check in with Goodale as well and be like, and how do you feel, Miss Goodale? I realize that the others have said they are fine with it, but dragging you here was very presumptuous to rip you from the belly of the Daughters of Twilight.
I came here of my own volition, Leith. Truly, you have nothing to be sorry about. My only concern is if the new would-be king should find a use for me.
Well, if that is your wish,
No, I mean, I'm not sure I want to become further entangled in other people's plans.
oh, I see. Well,
But we shall see how things unfold.
yes. I think that's very much similar to how I feel right now. I don't really wish to alienate any of you, but I do know that we are safe here.
I feel we have become cemented to each other through our adventures, Leith. I don't think we'll become alienated.
It's not just through our adventures. You need to understand that this is something you might say foretold.
Oh,
Sorry.
all of us together?
Well, yes, it is of importance that it is us all together.
Oh, I see.
You probably are the best one to talk to when I say I can't actually fully explain it, but it will be known in time.
Well, very good. I had a feeling that I needed to trust you.
And I do appreciate that very much. There were not many that I truly did trust the daughters, but you seem very, very trustworthy, very capable.
Why, thank you, Leith. I feel the same about you.
Okay, so you guys
I thank you.
outside. Milford and Adric, you still outside, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can both make perception checks, please.
Boo. I knew you were going to say that. That's why I left it on perception.
Edrin, what are you doing? Edrin's disappeared. Can't ask him what he's doing if he's not there.
4.
Can't hear you, Edrin.
I'm still upset about the whole,
You're muted.
you know, I've got my answers
Sorry,
now.
I
I'm
wanted
weighing
to,
them.
sorry. Apologies. I was grabbing something and I muted myself because I didn't want my coughs to be broadcasted to
Yeah,
everyone.
mine got caught.
No worries.
Adric got a 14.
Adric got a 14. Milford, what did you get for your perception?
I only got a 4 because,
Okay.
you know, it's been a big night.
So Milford's quite distracted. Okay,
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
stuff. Adric, you notice a boat arriving down by the shore.
Hey, Bran, are we expecting any visitors?
Oh yes,
Okay,
our Lord
just
Mace will be
checking.
here shortly, I should expect. The boat that you see is like a relatively small elven canoe, or it's like a single person boat basically. And as it arrives, you see there's one figure standing on it, dressed in red, literally just standing on this boat as it comes into shore, under no power at all, as far as you can tell. No oars, nothing. He has a staff though, and as the figure steps off the boat, he's quite tall, red robes, and this kind of red wrap around his face, covering his eyes. He steps off the boat and begins to walk up the sand in your direction.
Gonna pat Brixton on the shoulder and go, alright, well, it looks like the man Leith's been waiting for is here. So I'm going to go and inform him. I think you should start thinking about how you're going to explain all of what just happened to him so he can fix it. And Adric's gonna walk off to Leith to let him know.
All right. So Adric comes into the tent.
Leith, I believe your master's arrived.
Leith, you're muted.
My master?
Yeah, you're a gentleman friend by the name of Maith. That's that one.
Oh, yes.
Yes, a gentleman's arrived. And
Wonderful.
it looks like Brixton has calmed down somewhat. By no help of mine. So I won't be steering him astray today.
Thank you, Edric. I appreciate that.
Oh, he's not only safe for a while.
There is this kind of gust of wind that enters the tent and blows around the sides of it, and you notice all of the candles that were not lit flare up.
I'll drop to one knee and bow.
So when this figure steps in through the curtain, he just enters in with his staff, and he looks down, and well, he doesn't look. You can't tell where he's looking because his eyes are covered with red fabric wrapped around his face to there, basically. You can just see his chin, and his skin is a little bit old and weathered. Even for an elf, you can tell he's old.
Goodale follows suit with Leith. She copies him.
Okay. Greetings, Mr. Lath.
My liege.
You have brought your comrades to the Island of Shadows.
Yes,
A curious move on your part.
I understand that it is probably unexpected, but
Not entirely unexpected.
we are in need of shelter, of refuge,
Of course you are.
and this is the only place that I believed would be safe.
This was a good decision, Mr. Lath. Is everyone well? He casts his gaze. I use the word loosely.
Yes, for the most part.
Edrin on the bench doing breathing exercises, holding a teddy bear, just
Where did he get that?
carry it on me.
Maith hands Leith his staff and walks in the direction of Edrin. He puts his hand on your shoulder, Edrin.
Right off. Oh.
You find yourself being gazed at by this ancient-looking creature dressed in these red robes and wrappings. Make a saving throw, wisdom saving throw.
4.
4, did you say?
4.
4. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about my mother.
Okay. You poor child. You're safe here, Mr. Montcoff. Please rise. No one here will hurt you. Nothing will happen to you. No harm will come.
I give Leith a little bit of a stink eye. And I
He calls you Leith to
stand
come
up.
over with his staff. Yep, you stand up.
I stand up, shamefully kind of tucking my teddy bear into my pocket.
I'll hand Maith his staff.
Thank you. He takes the staff and he leans on it a little. He says, I am Imral Maith Elasadrel. And I should like to help you, Mr. Montcoff, if I may.
Thank you. My friends feel the same sentiment.
What is your ailment, precisely?
I am not a fan of large and deep waters.
That is it?
Yes.
And is out of game? Is that it? Is that what?
I mean,
is that what he's actually getting from you? Like from reading
yeah,
your...
like obviously there's a reason for it, but
Right.
he definitely has thalassophobia. There's a reason, but he's got thalassophobia.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you had your eyes closed, as it were, and you were laying on the bench, because that's what you were doing, right?
Yeah.
You were certainly feeling something deep and tentacled moving in the depths of this lake.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. There's a
What you sense, Mr. Montcoff, is the aboleth that sleeps here.
All right. I'd very much like to get off this island as soon as humanly possible, if that's all right. No offense to you or to Mr. Leaf, but
How dare you.
need to leave. If that's all right, or go somewhere
Miss
a little bit
Talandaran,
more
he says and turns
on
around
land.
to you, Goodale. There is a
Yes?
spell I'm sure you have in your repertoire. Calm emotions.
I potentially would have to learn it.
Although I mean, again, thank you very much, but I have had almost an inane amount of spells cast upon me in the last week. Is there a bit more of a structural place rather than a flimsy tent?
Well,
Not to ask for a better accommodation, but somewhere a bit more structurally sound than a tent.
a little to the north, there is an Asturian wall that crosses this entire island and splits it in half. To the north of the wall, there are some ruins on an outcrop. Near those ruins, there is an entrance to the Underdark, but there is a small encampment of goblinoids that have taken residence there. We leave them to themselves. You could,
All right.
however, if you chose to, decide to send them packing, if that be your will.
I was thinking more of just kind of like a nice
Out
log
of game.
cabin,
Out of
but
game. Dungeon crawl. Dungeon crawl. Dungeon.
dungeon crawl. I was thinking more of just like a nice log cabin. Although ruins sound just as nice. I think I'm gonna lie down again. Actually, I'm just going to have a little bit of a.
Mr. Montcoff,
I'll lie down.
the island that you find yourself upon is an island of legend. This island has appeared only to a very few people in the centuries that the elves or the humans have existed in the world of Sidariel.
Yes, and I do feel blessed and thankful and humbled by that approach. But just the inane amount of water is getting a bit beyond what is you know. I'm going to go for a walk. Is there a point in which you go inland and you just don't see any water?
Of course, yes.
I'm going to go
Surrounded by
there.
trees.
I'd very much like to just go for a little bit of a walk.
Beware of the goblinoids.
I will. Edric, would you like to go for a walk?
There is nothing I'd like more. Edric
Awesome,
bows
very good.
to Maith. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Your
Oh.
mateship. Is that a particular title I might call you, sir?
You may call me Imrel or Maith.
Imrel?
I am
Oh, just
partial to either.
Well, it was lovely to
Um,
make your acquaintance, Maith.
Yes. Sorry, I've not been so. I've apologies for my candor and my. And he just backs out.
Well,
And
Mr.
Edric just-
Leith. Well, Leith, Mr. Lath. What a curious bunch of friends you've brought here.
I believe they are stout-hearted people. They have been good to me, and I wish to return the favor.
Assets, do you think?
Yes, I believe so.
Very well. I will trust your judgment. And he turns to Goodale. We will need to speak.
Indeed.
Would you like to sit down?
Yes. Goodale takes a seat.
And Maith sits also opposite you. Leith, would you like to stay, or would you have other things that you would prefer to attend? You're welcome to stay, of course.
I'm a little I'm not sure what we should do at this point, so I might go and have a bite to eat, actually.
Very well. Leave me here with Lady Talandarin for...
Unless Goodale would prefer that I stay.
It's all right, Leith.
Very good. No problem.
Well, Lady Talandarin, as I said, I am Imral Maith Elasatril, and these are the servants of the Fox. And our agenda, no doubt, has become apparent to you. I am, of course, aware of who you are, and I am aware of your family line.
I see. You're a very knowledgeable person.
Well, that being what it may, it does cause us something of a small issue, but I'm sure it is nothing that we cannot resolve between us with casual conversation and diplomacy. Do you think?
I'm sure you're right.
You do not need to be afraid of me. I have no intention to harm you.
Yes, well, Leith certainly trusts you, and I trust Leith and his judgment, so I'm sure it's going to be fine. What is it that you would like from me?
Well, as it happens, it was not my intention to bring you here and to put you into this odd situation. So, as to what I need or want from you is very little, in fact. Merely that you, preferably, do not reveal the whereabouts of our small encampment to anyone off these shores. That would be my first request, if that is permissible, milady.
Done.
That would be greatly appreciated. My existence, then, secondly, would be another thing that I would prefer to keep to ourselves.
Are you sure? Because I know of a number of people who would fall all over themselves to be able to speak with you.
Ah, but would I wish to speak with them? I am not in the business of acquiring large hordes of fawning sycophants.
I can see that.
As the prophecy says, let thy servants be few and secret, for they shall rule the many and the known. In any case, you find yourself in this interesting predicament, and I should only suggest that I can do my best to convince you that you are in the right place for the right reasons. And those reasons may include your connection to your deity. You're not the only one, of course, that has any form of vision.
No, I'm not.
You see, your goddess has spoken also to me.
She. In what form do your visions appear?
They come in a number of forms, but she has informed me of you. Your existence has been made known to me. It's not something I can speak of in great detail. Few would have the symbols set needed to grasp the conversation.
I see. What can you tell me?
The weave speaks to me directly, and sometimes Our Lady, Sehanine of the Moonbow, speaks through the weave. I see her prophecy in every breath of wind, in every turning leaf, in every stone and every rock, and every hair on every dog. Everything becomes holy when one can see the weave.
Every wrinkle on every cheek.
Indeed. Every wrinkle on every cheek is part of the all. Indeed. So, I do not think that our objectives are at odds.
No, certainly not.
However, I think that your connections to your family are politically difficult.
To say the least.
You care greatly for your bloodline and your family, I assume.
Yes, I do. We do not always see eye to eye, but I do care for them.
And you should like to see them not harmed or otherwise brought to any sort of, well, I think the terms Bragan would prefer to use would be militant justice.
That would be my preference.
You do understand that Lord Evran Erathanai had Bragan's family killed, that he has been on the run since he was a child, and that he's been brought up in isolation mostly by books and what little tutelage has been afforded to him. He knows who he is, but he is young and he is only learning the ways of power remotely without having seen the enforcement of it and its implications followed through.
Yes, he's unjustly been disadvantaged.
Well, on the other hand, you might also take note that our Lord Bragan would never have been considered as a potential king if his elder brothers had not all been murdered by Lord Evran to begin with. He was never in the line for the throne. But he is now, because he is all that's left. He and his sister, Nolmyra.
Yes. He has something in common with the human queen, Claresca.
Ah, you've met her.
Yes, I find her quite formidable. So impressive for a child to be ruling and doing so well.
She has many strings, many puppet masters.
I thought that might be the case.
Yes. It would be interesting to see if a bond or an alliance could be forged between Lord Bragan and Claresca. For certainly, for Sidariel to be taken aback, armies and soldiers and people will be required.
Yes. It would be advantageous, I believe, for them both.
Do you see any potential peace between our nations and our lineages?
It is my hope, it is my desire.
Well, it is my hope and desire that you will see here on this island in the short stay that you have the potential for that hope to be fulfilled, and that my choice of supporting Lord Bragan is of the most advantageous that is currently afforded to us by circumstance. and that he is not a bad man, perhaps arrogant, perhaps young, perhaps full of vim and vigor, and perhaps misguided at times, especially when left alone for 3 days to stew. I have been away. But in any case...
He cannot be the tyrant that King Evren is, though.
He is against Evren, and he is not a tyrant. He does demand respect, however.
Which is the way of kings.
It is the way of kings, and queens, and empresses, and archmages, and lord high protectors, and perhaps even seneschals. Titles. They should be dispensed with, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
But alas, the world runs upon titles, and thus we must play this game. So then all that we are left with is to play it as best as we can, with what wisdom we can allot to it.
Agreed.
Well, I should let you rest. If there is anything that you need, do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Lord Maith.
Please forgive my visage. I am sure it is frightening to many, perhaps even to you. I lost my eyes long ago. Now I see in a whole other light. Very well then, I too must rest. Be well. Pass my regards to the others. And he stands. And he bows. I have hopes for you. And he leaves. So, yep.
I was just going to say, Goodell's a bit shaken by the encounter, but not necessarily in a frightened way, just in a, wow, I've spoken to someone amazing kind of way.
Wow. Okay. So what are you guys doing? Barry,
I'm a rock.
you're on your rock, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the rock.
Edrin, we've wandered off to find the center of the island.
I'm walking with Adric just inland, until just continuing talking in England, and also discussing with him in Dwarvish certain things.
You find a kind of a gully between two sort of embankments and hills with trees, and there's some rocks, and there's an ancient standing stone, and in the distance you can see this massive fucking wall, like massive wall that's broken and ancient, that just runs the entire width of the island.
Ooh, could I have a look at the standing stone?
Yeah. They're just very ancient giant relics. There's nothing of any arcane value to them to you right now besides the historical value. Oh my goodness, it's 10:35. I just realized what time it was.
Adric's going to come over with him, looking at the standing stone, and using his proficiency with mason's tools,
Yes.
I'd like to try and figure out the purpose of the standing stone.
It's hard to know. They're very old and broken. They seem to be something to do with Lord Annam's. You think they might have been some kind of time-telling device or some sort of Actually, here's something interesting. They were at some point used as some part of a calendar. But what's interesting about it is that the calendar would no longer work because the moon has been broken into 7 pieces and the sun has now been split in twain. So...
well, this looks like it may have once been a time-telling device, but most likely a now completely useless calendar.
it's defunct, yeah.
It's wonderful, wonderful craftsmanship, but functionally useless because lunar. And now 7 of them, so useless.
Fair enough. Do you feel out of sorts here, Adric?
I always feel out of sorts with these big people.
Yes, there seems to be a big running theme with elves and mind reading spells.
Uh,
I think the head cleric at the Solanor Temple touched something with you when she was talking with you. Is that right?
if she did, she got more than she was bargaining for, I believe.
Yes.
Speaking of things that lie within, how are you doing?
I'm going to sit down in the gully, just lie down against it, so I feel peripheral wise, it looks like there's just solid land.
Yeah.
Um, all right now. I'm not I dislike immensely large bodies of open, deep water. Even talking about it, I get a bit out of sorts. You can imagine the trip from Vanderhold to Vaingate was light, considering I live on an island
I
surrounded by nothing
imagine
but dark water.
I imagine that must have been truly harrowing.
Yes,
But
well, that's why I had Tup. I researched and studied enough to get a companion, and that's why I have Tup. Obviously, he looks a bit different, but I thought I'd have a little bit of companionship on my journeys, and so
well, he's not your only friend now. And
ah,
like my reticence amongst temples and such, all of these things come from a very valid, painful place. So, I'm not saying you have to tell me, I'm just saying I'm here to listen. And
thank you. Although Leith, I think already. That's mainly why I got angry at him down in the ship with the book. He started probing quite deep and saw things that personal things that I think it would be I hadn't quite yet come to ready to express, and so when he saw those, I was a little bit angry with him. He apologized afterwards, and I hold nothing against him.
well,
But
the mind is every rational creature's last sanctuary. So, any invasion, especially by a friend, is it's not kind. It's it's not kind to the viewer or who's being the one being spied upon. But
yes,
what I
I
will
was
say, what I will say, is if and when you feel ready to tell me, I'll trade you, secret for secret.
Oh, thank you very much. I was about to say I too am here to listen to you. You seem to have a very big. You always seem to get a little bit more um, solemn when discussing this underdark thing, especially with those drow elves. You got quite intense with um, with one of them dangling above the crevasse, and then I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but whatever happened in the Solanor temple, that you seemed quite upset by whatever she was trying to talk to you about.
It wasn't it so much her, rather the temple itself, what she is and what that all represents. Goodale, to some extent, also makes me uncomfortable. Not because she's
Uh,
terrible, but simply because of what that implies.
you're not a well, it's not hard to guess that you're not very fond of the gods.
Edric pulls out his symbol of Muradin. Once, no longer.
Right. I'm sure you have your reasons, and I don't blame you. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I obviously believe in them. They have their powers. Goodale obviously is a living embodiment, a living kind of evidence of the power of gods and the devotion a being can give to them. But
I hear
I
you.
too am a bit unsure of
It's
certain ones.
it's not so much the existence of the validation. No, I mean, look around. This island has vanished from maps. There's elves that live centuries upon centuries. People can throw fireballs at their assholes. It's not, you know, it's not beyond the realm of possibilities. It's, in fact, it'd be more impossible for them not to exist. No,
Exactly.
it's the everything they can do and yet choose not to that I take issue with.
That is a very fair point. And I feel the same with, not with the gods, but with people. I must admit, I agreed with Brixton earlier. Respect should be given, but it also needs to be earned. And if you go out the gate demanding it regardless, I've lived too long with people who demanded respect and got it immediately and then ended up ruining everything because of it. So I'm not saying that this young elf king is going to be anything like what I've seen, but parallels between Vanderhold and what I saw with Claresca, and then this king already, we seem to be having a bad start with him. It seems to be a common theme. Royalty not exactly getting along with us.
Well, I think Claresca was fond of us in her own way, and after all, she is just a child. No, this
Yes.
Bregan, I'm not partial to royalty by any standards of the imagination, but this Bregan seems somewhat more childish than Claresca, and he has less reason to be so, by my
True.
reckoning.
Although he didn't threaten to kill us, so.
Well, not overtly.
But you're saying that being said?
I beg your pardon?
You said that being said before I.
Oh, I don't recall what I was saying.
Apologies.
I was just thinking about clubbing a goblin, to be fair.
Okay.
Ah,
Leith, what are you doing?
Leith has gone to the table to go and eat because he's been so focused and concentrating on getting himself attuned to things and not looking after himself. So he's just going to fill up his belly and have something to eat and just reflect on the emotional time that the party's been having.
Right. Okay.
I'll go and look for my bunch now.
Brixton's bunch.
Yep. I'll go and look for my literal bunch now.
All right.
See where they all are.
So, who do you find first, do you think?
I'll look for the people in the tent first.
All right. Well, you see Leith eating. Goodale. Where is Goodale at this point?
Is she still in the same tent?
Could be. It's up to you guys. Really,
Yeah.
if you want. Yeah.
I'm still at the table where I was speaking with Maith.
Okay. All right. So in that case, Leith comes in and starts filling his belly, and as he's doing that, Brixton comes in.
Milford, are you feeling better?
I'm feeling, well, the place makes me a little uncomfortable, but yeah, I'm feeling better. What about you?
Well, I think discomfort may be rampant at the moment, but growth comes from discomfort, so it's not entirely a bad thing.
Oh, that's true, girl. That's true. It's true. Hey, have you seen the reckless twosome?
Well, poor Edrin isn't doing so well. He apparently takes issue with large bodies of water, so he and Adric have gone for a walk inland.
You want to come with me and look for them?
Yes, I could use some air.
What about you, Luncheon?
Yes, please. I think I need some fresh air myself. It's been It's been a big day.
Look, I'm sorry if I made it difficult for everybody, but there's words that need to be said, you know.
Oh, of course. Of
I
course.
don't know if they were the right ones, but I needed to know, you know.
Yes. And I hope you found some answers.
Oh, yes, I found more answers than I was looking for. So come on, let's go and find the rest of us.
Yes. Let's go.
Oh, let's grab some food for them because they'll be hungry knowing those too.
Maybe a drink. Maybe a drink.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. So you
It's a
guys
good
grab
work.
some food and some drink, and you go
Pack a picnic.
pack a picnic and
we
go
basically
wandering.
pick a picnic. Yeah.
All right.
Into
And
the woods.
you find them in a gully by some old Astorian ruins.
I was about to say some cucumber sandwiches.
All right. Cucumber sandwiches, very good. And some elven bread, some whey bread.
All right, you lot.
These guys come stumbling over the hill.
And that's when I shat in my grandfather's helmet. I was only 20.
I have to adapt. That was enlightening. I think I've
Well,
learned so much about you now.
It did lighten my load, I will say.
Edric,
That's-
more poo
that's-
stories.
Anyone
look,
here
look.
got a particularly high nature skill?
Let's see.
Skills.
Why
My
do
nature's +4. I don't know if
plus-
that's.
All right.
Plus
Can
2.
you
Pretty
make?
good.
You guys can both make nature checks, please.
Oh no, that's a. That's a
Oh my gosh,
I
you
thought
will
it was a
not
crit one.
believe it!
Natural 20.
That's like my 5th one tonight!
Oh wow. Okay,
I've
Idrin.
never rolled so well. Ever.
There are some amazing looking magic mushrooms growing in this grove.
Well,
Okay.
There are some particularly funky fungi. I don't know if anyone wants to pick them up. Actually, I might as well just have a look at them.
Vision
I'll,
Quest?
I'll pick some of them up.
Do you two?
No, I'm not going to. I'm not any of that. I'll pick up 3 or 4 mushrooms to have a look at a later date.
Have a look.
Do
them
you
in a
two
bag.
want a drink?
There is. I couldn't possibly refuse a drink.
I know that's
I'm-
why I bought 2 bottles here.
I'm not. I think I'll be all right. Thank you very much.
Are you sure? Adric's got
Yes.
2 glasses in his hand. Are you sure?
No, I'm No, I don't think it'd stay down in the slightest.
Turns
Oh,
to Goodale.
so you don't want
Are
anything
you
to eat
sure?
either.
I could try nibble or force something down me, but I can't. It's not going to be anything substantial.
If it's some good elven wine, I will have a small glass.
This is the good elven wine.
We
Adric pours the glass in the floor. and hands it
basically
to
the team's
Goodale.
having a party.
Right, out in the woods, having a
Yeah.
party on the Island of Shadows.
Yes.
Excellent, cool bananas. That's a great place to
We're all
leave.
going to do
A
mushrooms.
Good solid
Huzzah!
recap.
It's like I'm in high school again.
Whoa!
Oh,
We
now
got
we know
some
what she did in high
insight.
school.
Wow, you were doing mushrooms at high school.
Oh, watch me chug this potion in 6 seconds.
God,
6 seconds.
oh my god, dude, I'm growing so big.
What
Oh, those
fucking
my
way.
hands, they're so big.
They're as
And
big as your
Milford's
head.
Whoa!
And Milford just sits back and watches his bunch.
His bunch. All right.
He's the sober driver.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we shall leave our Brixton's bunch, our Vaingate Chronicles, which kind of hard to call it the Vaingate Chronicles when they're not in Vaingate anymore.
Vaingate adjacent.
Right, the Vaingate adjacent Chronicles.
It's a couple of 100 miles that way.
Right.
Very adjacent.
I realized, yeah. Yeah, all right. So thank you, everyone. And we'll put this story on pause until next Wednesday night when you can join us again on the Vaingate Chronicles, and we'll pick up from this little grove of party and funness. Yes, that's a word now.
Funness.
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 Yes.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good
Okay,
night,
bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
fam.
Bye.